The Stewart's TV and Appliance pregame show starts now on the Lorain County Sports Network, your home for high school sports. Tune in for the Coach's Corner presented by Buckeye Community Bank, where we speak to the coaches and get their thoughts on the season, this game, and their teams moving forward. Don't forget, immediately following the last play of the game, join us for the Postgame Scoreboard Show presented by I-90 Nissan, featuring live interviews with players and coaches from around Lorain County. You can watch the postgame show live on Facebook at WOBL WDLW Sports. Tonight's games are brought to you by Lang Optical, Stewart's TV and Appliance, Buckeye Community Bank, Mental Health and Addiction Recovery Services of Lorain County, Justin Miller, Esquire, Jamie's Carpet Shop, Lorain County Visitors Bureau, Lorain County Clerk of Courts Tom Orlando, Derek Hammonds of State Farm Insurance, Lorain County Prosecutor J.D. Tomlinson, Vans Auto Repair and Tire Pros, Lorain County Community College, Jadasco Insurance, Steve Lawson of Russell Real Estate Services, Lorain County Recorder Mike Duran, E.H. Roberts Heating and Cooling, Achieve Credit Union, Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance, Ernie's Auto Body, Brian Victor of Howard Hanna, I-90 Nissan, Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, Al Januzzi CPA, Zabo Apparel Company, Valley Chevrolet, Jones Bones Barbecue and Grub, Network Land Title Agency, Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Lorain County, Rich Ramsey for Judge, Brian Baker for Lorain County Commissioner, Rich Resendez for Sheriff, Elyria Jewelers and Repair, Lorain County Commissioner David Moore, Jack Hall for Sheriff, Kelly Dieter for State Representative, and Giovanna Scarletta Bremke. After the break, we will talk to both of the coaches in tonight's matchup. Like, follow, and subscribe to Lorain County Sports Network on YouTube. It's time for Lorain County's Friday Night Lights with WOBL and WDLW Sports.
Counting you down to kickoff tonight between Vermilion and Huron here on the Lorain County Sports Network. It's time now for our Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner. Today and tomorrow, your partner for growth, that's Buckeye Community Bank. And we're joined by Huron head coach Sam Hohler. Coach Hohler, we appreciate you giving us a few moments of your time. Out to a real nice start this season. Coach, just taking a look at the results. You guys haven't given up very many points this season. Defensively, what has been working so well for you guys?
For us defensively, we have some kids back that played for us last year. So we had a little bit more experience on that side of the ball going into the season. We have an excellent group of linebackers in Jackson McNulty, Paul Maloney, and Hayden Wilson. Jackson and Paul both started last year, and their leadership has been outstanding so far this season. On the defensive line, Dominic Muratori played quite a bit for us last year, as well as Ben Davis. So they've been strong up front. And then in the secondary, guys like Landon Holder's a returning starter. Tommy McDonald and Joe Wood played a lot last year. So our experience defensively has definitely helped keep our opponents' scores down.
And since you took over, You guys have had a 500 or better record in every year, with the exception of your first one. Where do you think this particular team of yours compares to all the other successful teams that you've had?
Well, they're still trying to figure some things out. I think at the start of the year, we graduated a lot of kids. We felt like we had some talent, but we weren't sure what we were going to get on Friday nights. That's been a little bit unexpected with these guys. They've gone out and performed very well. So with us, where do they rank? We'll have to wait and see. We are in Division 6 this year, which is a little different for us. The good news is we're in a lower division. The tough news is our schedule didn't change. We still have a pretty darn tough schedule with the Sandusky Bay Conference and our non-conference opponents. So if we're healthy and able by the end of the season, hopefully we could make a nice playoff run. This matchup, this is an SBC Bay division game. Vermilion obviously off to a great start as well this year, so we'll definitely have our work cut out for us.
And I want to stick with the schedule for just another minute here, Coach, because you guys have 3 really tough games coming up at the end of the year. What do you hope the kids take out of that, regardless of the win or the loss, and how do you think that'll get you guys ready for the playoffs?
We're still in the hunt for an SBC championship, so coming to practice every day and trying to improve and get better is huge for us. We've kind of used the mantra all year, it's not how we start, it's how we finish. So we just kind of take each opponent one game at a time. We try to stay healthy, try to keep reaching towards our goals here as we wrap things up this year. But no question, Vermilion having a terrific season. That's a huge challenge. We have to go to Clyde for week 9. We beat Clyde last year, so I don't think they'll be too happy about us coming there this year. They're off to a great start this season. And then obviously Edison had a huge win last week, and they've been rolling right along as well. So for us, it's not really much different for us. We feel like we're in a lot of big games every year. But we just try to take them one at a time and do the best we can.
We talked about your defense already. Let's talk about that offense of yours. You were telling me off air, you guys run a spread. Who are some of the kids who have really kind of gone above and beyond in your mind offensively?
First off is Tommy McDonald. Tommy played receiver for us last year. He's a senior this year. He was a little bit overshadowed by guys like Bo Harkleroad last year and Dawson Bowen, who were all league performers. Tommy's come out this season and just done an outstanding job. He's a big play threat, not just catching passes, but also in the special teams area as well. So he's been a really bright spot for us this season. Our offensive line, led by Ben Davis and Dominic Muratori, have done a really good job up front, giving our QB time to pass, giving our running backs lanes to run through as well. So like we mentioned, some of these guys didn't get many opportunities last year, but they're making the most of them this year.
And, of course, standing in your way tonight, you're taking on the Vermilion Sailors, a team that has played some really good football so far this season. Coach, what are some things that the Sailors do that you see both on paper and on film that concerns you a bit going into tonight's matchup?
I think the big thing with Vermilion is their experience. A number of these kids have, paid their dues the last couple of years. They've stuck together. They're well coached. Offensively, they take care of the football. Not a lot of turnovers. Very physical football team. And then defensively, they're very stingy. You just don't see them make a lot of mistakes. They're, if you're going to beat them, you're going to have to take it to them and win that battle. So definitely a tough opponent at their place. It's been a while since they've had, the win-or. So we know they're going to be coming after it with all they got, and we're excited for the matchup.
Well, Coach Hohler, we certainly appreciate the time. Thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you the best of luck against Vermilion tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Again, that's Huron head coach Sam Hohler joining us here on the Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner today and tomorrow. And your partner for growth, that's Buckeye Community Bank. We'll step aside and take a timeout and come back with more after this on the Lorain County Sports Network. Cruising right along, getting ready for kickoff tonight on the Lorain County Sports Network with Vermilion playing host to the Huron Tigers. And now it's time for us to get back to the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Buckeye Community Bank, today and tomorrow. Your partner for growth, that's Buckeye Community Bank. And we're joined by Vermilion head coach Bill DeFucci. Coach DeFucci, we certainly appreciate you giving us a few moments of your time. And, you know, what a turnaround. This has been an outstanding season, the best in the program in quite some time. Coach, as this thing has certainly taken a gigantic turn for the better for you guys, can you think of some moments over perhaps the last 10 to 12 months where, whether it was a workout in the off season or maybe some execution and drills during camps and in training camp and then leading into the season, where you kind of got the idea that this group was really starting to turn that corner and things were starting to click?
Yeah, certainly. You know, everything about the success that we built this year revolves around that senior class. You know, they were sophomores when we took over, laid a foundation for them, not only just schemes and offensively and defensively, but weight room and speed camps and the mentality. And you kind of rewind now, like you're saying, about 10 to 12 months ago, and we have this senior class now kind of directing the program and following their leadership. And we did. We took, for the first time, and under my watch, you know, we went down to Ashland. We did a college camp, took the team away, had that opportunity to bond with each other and have fun and see the other sides of not just the kids, but the coaches as well. And I think that bonding atmosphere that you get in those situations really plays a lot of benefit to your team down the road.
Preaching patience in a turnaround is certainly something I think that might be a little bit easier for adults and coaches to kind of grasp and comprehend. It's a totally different animal than when you're talking about 15, 16, 17, and 18-year-olds to kind of grasp that concept too. You know, can you speak to that a little bit about, you know, how that particular group has showed some patience through this entire process?
Yeah, you're right. You know, ideally the first thought is, you know, there's a new person leading the program and immediately things are going to change and we're going to do this different, do that different. It's going to translate into wins. And you know, when we come in, we kind of explain that it's a process. You know, I mean, you can't just throw a switch and always expect electricity to flow through it. So, you know, we talk about the foundation. We talk about what we needed to do, how we wanted to do it, and what we wanted to do, and the drive and the desire is there, right? So we talk about patience, and patience usually means, you know, waiting for something to happen. This team was actively pursuing success and pursuing victories, but they were going about it in the manner that we set forth for them, and I couldn't think of a better group really to follow that path than this senior class that we have with us right now.
And you guys have been actively pursuing victories all season long, and you've been very successful at doing it, 6-1 going into tonight. One of the reasons for that, Coach, you guys have run the ball exceptionally well. What has been the engine that's really made this running game go for you?
You know, we're very fortunate to have a stacked backfield. I mean, you talk about the running backs we have, as well as our quarterback, Aaron Mathis, that can run the football for us. And while we hand off to these guys and they get all the accolades up front, you know, I mean, we talk about the weight room and the success. We've got 1,000-pound club guys up front that are opening up holes for these guys. So it's really a mindset, right? You have to believe that you can be more physical, and that translates to success in the weight room. You have to believe that you can play tough football, and that translates to the weight room. So we really focused a lot of our approach in building this program now around our success in the weight room.
You mentioned that 1,000-pound club. Can you elaborate on what that is exactly, and how do you think that's translated onto the field?
Yeah, certainly. You know, our 1,000-pound club, it's a weight room measurement, and we do it in it's 3 lifts. It's the bench press, it's the squat, and it's the hang clean. So it's only 3 lifts. You know, the deadlift's not in there. The deadlift's a heavy weight that kind of skew those 1,000-pound club numbers. So when you talk about those 3 lifts, it turns it into a pretty select group. And, you know, we're fortunate to have 4. I think we've got 4 on this team. I'm that 1,000-pound club. Prior to that, Cohen Mooney's the only 2-timer. Prior to that, we had a kid my first year, and then before that, I think it was like 2016. So, you know, we talk about the success on the field really translates to the work and the success in that weight room.
And we'll talk about some of those same names here as we take a look at the defensive side of the ball. Coach, you guys have been pretty stout defensively, too. Things are going pretty well on that side for you. Who has highlighted your defense so far this season?
You know, it just like offensively, it starts up front. I mean, you got a 1,000-pound club and Bo Benish, a defensive end for us, plays that physical style of old-school football that I love. Mason Plath, another 1,000-pound club kid, a nose tackle for us right in the middle of that defense. And then the other end is kind of our havoc wreaker, you know, Colin Agnew, and he plays football for us Friday night, marches in the band Friday night, runs cross country Saturday morning. That kid's got a motor that just never ends. So it's really that front and those linebackers, I think, that get the defense started, right? Because if you can impose your will and play good defense up front, then the back end can play a little more confidently. They can tighten up their coverage and kind of take away that passing attack.
And you guys will face a pretty strong passing attack and a pretty good team altogether tonight. And the Huron Tigers, they come in with a 5-1 record on the season. And you're talking about two of the best teams in the SBC. Should be a great clash tonight. Coach, what are some things that the Tigers do really well that concern you a bit going into tonight's matchup?
You know, anytime you talk about Huron football, you know, you think skill. You think about skill players. You think about spread offense, passing attack, and great coaching. I mean, they have year in, year out been a foundation of success, you know, out in the Sandusky Bay Conference. So, you know, we truly respect what they've done out there, and we've got to play good defense on the back end and the secondary defensively, you know, limit the amount of time he has in the pocket. So we want to change that launch point with our pressures and really kind of take them out of that comfort zone that they like to operate in.
Well, Coach, we appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you the best of luck against Huron tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate everything you guys do for us.
Thank you, Coach. Again, that's Vermilion head coach Bill DeFucci joining us here on the Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner today and tomorrow. Your partner for growth, that's Buckeye Community Bank. We'll come back with more after this on the pregame show here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Sailing into the 8th week of the high school football season tonight, we're out in Vermilion as the Sailors play host in an SBC clash to the Huron Tigers, with a pair of 6-1 teams having at it with playoff aspirations and conference title aspirations on the line. Greetings, salutations, and welcome to tonight's broadcast here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Coming your way live from the Lang Optical broadcast booth. Lang Optical, see the difference. Andy Bolbarch joined alongside my tag team partner Max Drummond. He'll provide the colorful analysis throughout the night. The captain of our ship is Edwin Vereen. He's our director. And Sam Sovacool working the camera tonight. This is the Stewart's TV and Appliance pregame show. Shop smart, shop local, shop Stewart's TV and Appliance in Elyria. Max, great to be joined by you as always. In two 6-1 teams having at it, a very long losing streak for Vermilion against these Huron Tigers, a chance to snap a slide that spans almost 60 years.
That's right. This full season has really been a comeback tour for Vermilion, and getting a bunch of things right and setting things squarely against a lot of familiar opponents that they haven't been able to defeat in recent years, but it certainly has been a revenge tour this season.
Here in just a few moments, you can certainly hear that Vermilion marching band in the background. They're going to launch into the national anthem, which is brought to you by Lorain County Prosecutor J.D. Tomlinson. Stay safe, Lorain County. A message from Lorain County Prosecutor J.D. Tomlinson. We'll let the band take over here in just a moment, but a great deal of intrigue in this game, with two 6-1 teams having at it. We talk about the conference aspirations being on the line for this one. Both teams positioned well at this point to host a playoff game. We're still a couple of weeks away from that, but you know that's got to be weighing on their minds.
It certainly does, and in these SBC games, it's such a competitive conference, and both of them also have a lot of games coming up that are going to determine that against other conference contenders for these playoff spots too. So certainly looking forward to seeing how that affects their play, how much the urgency is presented to us tonight, and also just two teams that on one side is very used to this kind of success. Huron, a lot of success over the years, and Vermilion looking to taste that for the first time in a long time.
It is Military Appreciation Night here in Vermilion as well. They're wearing the camo jerseys, and it should be a pretty interesting evening for us. Well, they are going to play the national anthem here in just a moment. We'll let the Vermilion Marching Band take over with our Star Spangled Banner.
Gold plume to wear for tonight's game. Tonight we are awarding 5 band members with this honor. This week's gold plume recipients are, from the percussion section, Jareth Ball. From the flute section, Catherine Ripshaw. In the color guard section, Adriana Dusek. In the clarinet section, Luke Gillis. And in the drum major section, Ava Liskowski. And now, if you'll all please stand as we join the Sailor Marching Band, under the direction of our very favorite Grace Robinson, the assistant band director, with the playing of our alma mater. Please stand and remove your caps as we join the Sailor Marching Band in honoring America with the playing of our national anthem.
Yes, sir, they love this club here in Vermilion. Just a few moments away from kicking things off, and now I'll pass the baton on to my tag team partner, Max Drummond, for our keys to the game, brought to you by the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board of Lorain County.
Well, we touched on it a little bit, Bo. Both of these teams off to very strong starts this season, and it's because of a lot of similar things. And we'll start with the visiting Huron Tigers, as they had a little bit of a ways to travel in here, still getting a pretty good turnout on that side of the field over there. But they certainly need to maintain their balance that they've had in a lot of games this season. Junior quarterback Landon Hohler He's passed for over 700, and he's ran for almost 400 on the season. Very few turnovers, so definitely using the passing game and the running game to set each other up and get that Vermilion defense, which has an aggressive front seven, get them in some tough situations. And then looking over at the Sailors, it's pretty simple. Their running attack has carried them through this season. They need to continue to do that tonight, and they've got a three-headed monster at running back. You're going to hear a lot of different names getting those handoffs, but it all is also led by Aaron Mathis, their senior quarterback, who's come a long way since his sophomore days a couple years ago when he was first handed the keys to this Vermilion offense and team. And then also this is going to be an interesting spot for Vermilion, is kind of prevent any big plays in the second and third phase that isn't offense, because we've seen Huron has had success not only on defense getting touchdowns, but in the punt return game as well. It helped them win a game last week. So make sure you lock down each phase, not just that offense, because the Tigers can make plays in all three phases.
Again, the keys to the game brought to you by the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board of Lorain County. Be there for someone struggling with addiction and mental illness. Let's take a look at our team captains, brought to you by Jamie's Carpet Shop. Shopping made simple. That's Jamie's Carpet Shop. For Vermilion, Oliver Roy, Aaron Mathis, Cohen Mooney, and Evan Coons. And the three captains for Huron will be Paul Maloney, Nick Llewellyn, and Ben Davis. Well, the coin toss happened just a few moments ago. Coin toss brought to you by the Lorain County Visitors Bureau, celebrating 200 years together. That's the Lorain County Visitors Bureau. And for the first time, I believe, all year long for you and I, the team that won the toss actually wanted the ball.
That's right.
Huron won the toss, and they'll receive.
Willing to come out very aggressive and try to put a hush over this hosting Vermilion crowd.
Well, the weather is perfect tonight. Temperatures dropping just below 70, a little bit windy out there, but it is a perfect Friday night. The weather conditions brought to you by Lorain County Clerk of Courts Tom Orlando, a proud sponsor of high school athletics. And now we'll take a look at that injury update report brought to you by Derek Hammons of State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Nobody's healthy this time of the year, right? You're dinged up a little bit, but for the most part, no key cogs missing on either side.
Yeah, and that's great to see at this point because, as you mentioned, even if somebody isn't fully injured, they're definitely experiencing something or nursing something along the way. So both of these teams are very tough, though, so they're going to go through every full extent to be out there.
Well, let's take a look at our starting lineups brought to you by Van's Auto Repair and Tire Pros, your trusted local auto repair and tire shop. That's Van Auto Repair and Tire Pros. Since Huron gets the ball first, we'll take a look at that Huron offense led by junior quarterback Landon Hohler, 6'1", 180-pound junior. In the backfield with him, tailback number 4, Paul Maloney, a 6', 200-pound senior. Wide receivers are number 1, Tommy McDonald, 5'7", 150 senior. A senior, 6'5", 195, number 14, Jackson McNulty. Number 9, Caleb Staley, a 5'11", 165 junior. And number 2, Joe Wood, a 5'8", 140-pound senior. Up front, left tackle Dominic Muratori. Left guard, Ben Davis, the center, Ben Harkleroad, the right guard, Ethan Roth, and the right tackle, Mark Polinsky. How about that Sailor defense?
Well, up front for Vermilion, that's where it starts, according to Coach DeFucci. They've got Bo Benesh at defensive end, the 6'2", 200-pound senior, wearing number 10, Mason Plass. Number 74, holding it down in the middle, and Colin Agnew, a multi-sport athlete over at the other defensive end spot, wearing number 64. Then the linebackers, Evan Coons, who you'll see on both sides of the ball, 5'10", 195-pound junior, wearing 41. Cohen Mooney, number 43 in the middle, along with Sean Brownell, number 50. And then Aiden Kaiser, number 34, 5'9", junior at the other outside spot. And then in that secondary, you've got Dominic DeFucci, a 5'9", senior, wearing number 2. Oliver Roy, a senior, wearing number 6. And then fellow senior at safety, Aaron Mathis, wearing number 7. And Brock Myers, 6'3", junior corner, wearing number 1. He's going to be key tonight in helping slow down that Tigers offense.
And looking at the other side of things, you'll hear a lot of the same names. It's one of the cool things about calling a Division IV school against a Division VI school. These are small schools, so you have a lot of kids playing both ways. For the Vermilion Sailors offense, quarterback Aaron Mathis, 6'2", 195 senior. In the backfield with him, a junior tailback Evan Coons, 5'10", 195, and Cohen Mooney, a senior, 6'2", 200 pounds. Bo Benesh is the tight end, 6'2", 200-pound senior. The wide receivers, Brock Myers and Dominic DeFucci. Up front, left tackle Jacob Mayer, left guard Chad Ellis, the center Mason Plass, right guard Tim Butcher, and number 64, the right tackle Colin Agnew.
Then over on that Huron defense, Caden Peterman at defensive end. Ben Davis and Ethan Roth will be the D tackles in the middle. Dominic Muratori at the senior defensive end spot on the other side. Then the linebackers, Jackson McNulty, Paul Maloney, and Hayden Wilson. Lastly, in the defensive back room, Tommy McDonald at corner. Landon Hohler, number 11 at junior. Caleb Staley, another junior safety. And Joe Wood, a senior corner, wearing number 2.
Caleb Staley will catch the opening kickoff off a very high hop and take it out to the 35-yard line. Opening kickoff brought to you by Lorain County Community College. Kick off your future with LCCC. Let's get a quick look at our referee crew, brought to you by Justin Miller Esquire, serving all of your legal needs. That's Justin Miller Esquire. Our head referee tonight is a gentleman we've seen at least once before, in Mike Sassaman. He'll be joined by Court Sassaman, Dave Joseph, Jason Rush, and Troy Fowler. So here is this Huron Tiger offense, averaging just over 28 points per game this season. Pretty good balance, but they do like to throw the ball around a bit. Tommy McDonald will go in motion far side to the left. Hohler fires left side. The pass is caught by McDonald, but he is blown up immediately. He was drilled by Evan Coons. Just a gain of 1 yard on the play.
Talk about getting there in a hurry. He read that flat route right away out of the motion and shut that play down before it even had a chance. Well,
these are two really good defenses. They haven't surrendered many points this season. And you know what's on the line here. Not just the playoff aspirations, SBC championship aspirations certainly on the line here too, but this is a game Vermilion has not won in a very long time.
Certainly be driving them tonight.
Hohler on the keeper. He's able to spin away from one defender, but then he is dropped in the backfield. Well, he was slowed down initially before the rest of the defense came in to just kind of swallow him up. And there were so many different bodies in on that stop, but it looked like one of the first ones there was Colin Agnew.
Yeah, and it looked like nobody was fooled by Tommy McDonald going in motion. Nobody bid on that and instead just stayed home for the quarterback. And like you said, defensive lineman leading the way to force this 3rd down and long now.
It'll be 3rd down and 10 with the nose of the ball resting at the 35-yard line of Huron. Hohler works out of the shotgun, waiting on the snap. He grabs it, play action fake. Pocket collapsing quickly. Fires this one left side. Tommy McDonald dives, and it looks like he made the catch right around the 46-yard line. So an 11-yard pickup and a real nice grab by McDonald.
Well, for Hohler, he almost appears more comfortable when he's rolling out of the pocket, when he's throwing on the run. He's made a lot of throws like that all season when looking at the film, and helps in a big way there to keep this opening drive going.
And even though it's early, that's a little shift in momentum on 3rd down and 10. They're able to pick up 11 yards.
Yeah, and you know this crowd would have erupted if they would have been able to see an opening drive stop.
Seems like there was a little confusion lining up here on the near side. Snap taken. They'll give to Maloney. Maloney gets hit, and he gets up to about the 47, maybe the 48. Picked up just a little bit there. Cole Mooney was able to wrap him up and take him down after a very short pickup.
Well, on that play, it looked like the run was bounced outside. McNulty, who we normally see in a receiver role, he's such a big guy, they put him in the H-back position almost. Tried to have him lead the way up the B gap, but his running back didn't follow him there, and unblocked defender outside was able to clean that one up.
Maloney off the right hip of Landon Hohler. 3 receivers to the near side. Hohler rolling out to that side. Looks down the field, fires down the field, incomplete. Overshot his intended target, looking for Tommy McDonald. But that pass sailed over his head, and for a second there, I'm sure there were a lot of collective heartbeats on the far side, exceeding the normal rate.
You got that right. And that was for 5'7" Tommy McDonald. I don't even know if his teammate 6'5" Jackson McNulty would have been able to go up and get that one. So just a tough throw. Might have lost it out of his hand a little bit there.
So another 3rd down and long scenario here. They converted on 3rd down and 10 earlier on this drive. They're coming up on 3rd down and 9 here.
I'm interested to see if Vermilion sends some extra pressure here, or if they try to do what they can to keep Hohler in the pocket. That's a spot where he can hold it a little bit longer than maybe you'd like, and it leads to a coverage sack. But, of course, the guys in the back end are going to have to hold up for Vermilion.
Vermilion comes into this game with just under 21 sacks on the season. Pressure coming. Hohler gets away from it. He's going to run far side left. Turns the corner. He's got some room. He gets bumped out of bounds on the far side. but not before he picks up a fresh set of downs. Oliver Roy was there to stop him, and it'll be another third down conversion on this drive for Vermilion, or I should say for Huron.
And a huge play there, and what do we see? We saw the run gaps, the fill lanes right there, broken a little bit by Vermilion. It's just enough of a crease to launch Hohler out to the left side there, and nobody's home.
First down and 10 coming up here again for Huron, who's now converted twice on third down and long. And those are two big backbreakers for a defense that's trying to flex some muscle here on the opening drive of the game.
They really are. We'll see as they get back into their own end now if they can step up.
They'll give to Maloney, takes it straight up the gut. He's able to get up to about the 36-yard line. That's a pretty good chunk on first down. He picks up just about 6 yards. That's their best first down play of the night so far.
Yeah, and we've seen them behind schedule pretty often now, but right here getting ahead of the chains, and it sets up a nice play call opportunity because we haven't seen them take a shot yet. Maybe in a spot like this, getting closer to the red zone, they will.
Second down and 4 coming up for the Tigers. Coming up on their 8th play of this drive. Empty backfield for Hohler. Vermilion rushing 3. Pass goes far side left, caught by McDonald. He tiptoes out of bounds near the 30-yard line, and that'll be enough to move the sticks again.
And his low center of gravity makes him nearly impossible to cover, especially on those quick out routes like that. As soon as he turns out to the sideline there, he's open, and Hohler hits him in stride.
Tommy McDonald came into this game as the team's leading receiver. He had caught 34 balls entering tonight for 404 yards and 5 touchdowns. But as Coach Hohler mentioned to us in the Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner, he has had a huge impact not only on offense but on special teams and defense as well. They'll send McDonald in motion near side right. Hohler rolling to the right, looking for McDonald. Finds him at the 26, but he lost the ball. Had it for a moment, and it looked like maybe he had to reach back for that and just couldn't hang on to it.
Slightly behind him, but that's the second time now we've seen them hit the flat out of the motion. So clearly they're trying to tempt Vermilion out of this man coverage. Kaiser right there, one of the linebackers, trying to keep up with him across the field. And I mean, you have a tough time doing that when he's starting out of a regular stance. You give him a couple of steps there to build up some momentum, it's even tougher.
Second down and 10 coming up. But the way things have gone in this first drive for Huron, 2nd and 10, no big deal.
No issues so far.
Hohler by his lonesome in the backfield again. They'll send Maloney in motion. There'll be a keeper. Hohler breaks one tackle, still on his feet, and he's able to pick up maybe 2, got to about the 28-yard line. So 3rd down and 8 coming up. One thing to keep in mind here, Max, they've got Cameron Manor, their kicker. He was an all-state kicker a year ago, and Coach Hohler mentioned to us he's getting Division I and Division II looks.
Well, and that makes a situation like this, your play calling can be a little more conservative if you'd like, but we didn't mention it in the forecast, but there's around 11-mile-an-hour winds out there right now. Could see gusts up to 20. So early on, it might be okay. We'll see how that impacts the rest of the game going forward.
3rd down and 8 coming up here. Landon Hohler with Maloney off his right hip. Rolls out near side right, facing pressure again. Fires left side, nobody home. There was nobody in the area. He had to let that loose. It fell incomplete inside the 20-yard line.
I'll tell you what, Bull, I don't know if he got outside the pocket. Plus, right there, it got past the line of scrimmage, but nobody, like you said, nobody in the area. That's 2 of the 3 indicators for a grounding.
Right you are. Mike Sassman, our head referee, threw the flag the second you got done with that dissertation on how we did not get outside the pocket, so you're spot on. It'll be an intentional grounding call, and this will make it a really tough 4th down scenario facing the Tigers.
And it's been a very productive drive up to this point, and outside of the 30, can't imagine they try to put that kind of pressure on Manor here this early in the game, but we'll see.
Here he comes.
Wow.
He is 9 for 12 in field goal attempts this season. And this is going to be a really long attempt. This will be about a 50-yard attempt. Now, I bring that number up, 9 for 12. There are some Division VI schools that probably haven't attempted 12 field goals in the last 12 years.
Right. That's a great point.
It's a weapon that they have, and they're going to put it to test here in the early stages of this one. No score, opening drive, 7:09 to play, first quarter. A 50-yard attempt from Cameron Manor, a 6'1", 160-pound senior. They'll send the snap back. Kick is on the way from Manor, and this one is short and a little bit left as well. So he missed a 50-yard attempt, and Vermilion takes over. This is a huge win for this Vermilion defense. They gave up a couple of third down conversions.
And they came up on the biggest one, able to force a bad throw that led to a grounding. So a bend-don't-break style of defense. Plus, they never gave up anything past 10 yards down the field passing-wise, so they got to feel good about how they shut down that Tigers drive there.
7:05 to play here in the first quarter. No score in this one between Vermilion and Huron after the missed field goal. Vermilion takes over at their own 20-yard line. And while the 6-1 records are identical, boy, they have contrasting styles offensively.
You got that right. We're going to see multiple running backs just about every play in the backfield with Mathis.
Aaron Mathis waiting on the snap. He'll give it to Evan Coons. Coons dances outside, try to stiff arm a defender. He stood up by Jackson McNulty, but he did get to about the 23, maybe the 22, so he picks up just a couple.
And establishing the left side of the line there, that's where they've got a little bit more size. It's not a huge offensive line, but they are very strong and they are a very gritty group up front.
Opening snap of each half brought to you by Janasco Insurance. That's the protection you need and the service you deserve. Janasco Insurance. Anders takes the snap. This time they'll give it to Cole Mooney. Mooney tries the right side. He's able to push the pile up to about the 27. So now they're looking at 3rd down and 3, but the way this team runs the ball 3 yards, I don't want to say it's easy against this Huron defense, but it's doable.
No, it's certainly not easy as they present a lot of problems up front there and a lot of tacklers too, especially leading the team. But it was a good job pulling around there by both guards, Chad Ellis and Tim Butcher, getting in front of that play, and it now makes it a very third and very manageable.
Anders back in the shotgun again. They'll bunch up 3 receivers on the near side. They're going to give this one left side. It's taken up to about the 33-yard line. That'll be a 1st down, and they gave it to Cole Mooney, who was able to pick up 1st down yardage. Got him about 6 yards. They only needed 3, so they moved the sticks.
Well, and it was not pretty by any means, but at that point he just put his head down and was able to plunge forward into that pile and keeps this drive going. And that's another thing. If they are able to establish any amount of rhythm here, the amount of clock they're going to take off the board, it'll be detrimental to that Huron offense.
Cole Mooney is off the left tip of the cornerback Aaron Mathis, but now it looks like there's a little bit of confusion here as the officials kind of looking at each other, and the clock is running, and I don't know what in the world they're angry about, but they're looking at the clock, and I think they want it to stop. So the clock reads 5:03 as we speak, and it looks like they may want to get some more time on the clock. And they're talking to Athletic Director Andy Stillman to figure out how much time they need on that clock. They put 5:20 back on there.
Now with a new set of downs, gotta wonder when Aaron Mathis will be incorporated into the rushing attack here. I don't imagine we'll go too much longer without him using his legs.
He's got Mooney on his left side. 2 receivers lined up on the short side, which is our near side. They'll send a man in motion. It's a double handoff. This will take it left side, slips and falls at about the 36-yard line. They do pick up a couple of yards, and it was a double handoff. Evan Coons, who's rushed for over 500 yards this year, is able to pick up a few.
Well, and he had to do so getting around middle linebacker Paul Maloney, who was able to pick up on that double handoff, read it perfectly, just slipped out of the tackle, and instead of being right at the line of scrimmage there at the 33 or so, they get up ahead of the 35 now.
2nd down and 7 coming up. Vermilion's picked up 16 yards on this drive. It began back at their own 20, coming up on the 5th play of it. They'll send a man in motion, and they'll give this one to Coons again. Coons will take it up to the 40. So now they're looking at 3rd down at about 3 here, and that's about where they were last time they were looking at a 3rd down scenario.
And it plays right into their hand, and right now they're able to hit both sides of the line of scrimmage. I mean, they're going left, right. They're just alternating, and right now Huron hasn't been able to do much to get them to have to choose one side or the other. It's been pick your side, picking that at will, basically.
This has been a really difficult 3-headed monster for the opposition to slow down in that rushing attack. Aaron Mathis, Evan Coons, and Cole Mooney. It'll be a keeper. Mathis takes it right side, bounced off the pile. He was able to shift his way up to the 46, maybe the 45. Either way, it's enough to get that chain gang going again.
Well, and you can see right there, he brings a little bit different style of rushing attack than the running backs do. A little more finesse, and he uses it there to pick up the first down.
And we've seen all three carry the ball on this drive. Well, they took care of Port Clinton last week. They actually had to go to the air a little bit. Aaron Mathis had 170 yards through the air.
Yes, very out of character almost for him, but he certainly threw a beautiful ball, and it helped lead to the 9-point win.
No score in this one between Huron and Vermilion. 3:20 to go, first quarter. Keeper again. Mathis will take it left side. Made a shake inside. Picked up some extra yardage. Takes it inside. Huron territory. Pushing the pile past the 45 and doesn't go down till he gets to the 43 of the Tigers.
The Coach DeFucci of the coaches score. He talked about that 1,000-pound weight club. I know Mathis may not be in that, but right there showing at around midfield, he was almost in a squat position, and those legs just kept churning in the help of some of his linemen. That was a very determined run right there.
That 1,000-pound club is something we're going to refer to throughout the night because you don't see a bunch of gigantic bodies up front, but clearly there's some really strong young men in that starting five.
That's right. It makes it even more impressive here on Friday nights.
Mooney on the left side of Mathis. They'll send Roy in motion. They give it to Mooney. Mooney takes it up the middle. He's tackled by his legs right around the 38. So that's another nice chunk pickup of just about 5 yards, maybe 6.
It's been a steady diet of that, and we're already well under halfway to go. Just over 2 minutes remaining in this opening quarter of play, and you can tell Vermilion's in no hurry. They're very comfortable with what they're doing right now.
Sailor Nation out in full force here tonight. You know how much this game means to this community. They've lost 15 straight to the Huron Tigers. Haven't won since the mid-60s in this rivalry. Roy goes in motion. Mathis hands it off to Mooney. Mooney left side, able to get past the 35-yard line, and it takes a couple of Tigers to take him down. Hayden Wilson, one of the first ones there to slow him down, and not before he got to the 34, setting up third down and short.
And if you've never seen Vermilion on tape before, if you've never been familiar with some of their style that they play with, you'd imagine that they're under center. It's the old-fashioned 3 yards in a cloud of dust style where it's an I formation. This spreading it out, using the shotgun and all this misdirection, it goes a long way, and then you add on their toughness on top of that, and it becomes a really difficult combination to stop.
Mathis on third down and short with Mooney off his right side. It'll be a keeper. Mathis bounces this one to the outside. He's able to turn the corner, gets to the sideline at the 25-yard line. He's escorted out of bounds right around the 20. And that'll be enough for another first down. They're on the brink of the red zone, which is brought to you by Steve Lawson of Russell Real Estate Services. Selling or buying your next home? Visit superstevesells.com. That's superstevesells.com.
Well, on the right side of that offensive line, Butcher and Agnew over at right tackle, all they did was held their guys in place long enough, and Mathis is able to just find the lane outside and pick up a nice 15 yards there.
Miles Schlosser trots out of the field to give the instructions to the huddle. And they'll break it here at the 20-yard line. Trying to take a lead in this game. No score, 1:17 to play, opening stanza. Man in motion. Mathis will hand this one off to Coons. Coons left side takes it inside the 15-yard line, pushes the pile up to about the 14, so they pick up 6 on first down. And Max, that's one thing that stands out about this opening drive. They're getting really nice gains on first down.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite of what Huron was dealing with to open the game, and it's really just making the play calling easier. They have not been in any bad situations so far where they've had to deviate from their comfort zone, which is, of course, hitting it with the ground game.
So it'll be second down and 4 here from the Huron 14-yard line. Coming out of the shotgun again. Mooney this time lined up off the left hip of Mathis. It'll be a keeper. Mathis takes it left side, gets inside the 10-yard line, and he's tackled right around the 7. Hayden Wilson in the stop again, but we have a flag back around the 15-yard line. That's a hold going against Vermilion.
Well, they've been really disciplined on this opening drive for them with just letting go of those blocks if you need to and letting your running back or quarterback carry the pile. Right there, they get caught by the official there right around the middle of the line of scrimmage.
That's our first penalty of the night. Referee Mike Sassaman made the call. And this will put the ball back at the 24.
So now we see the first situation they're in where they're behind schedule here and behind the chains a little bit. So can't imagine it'll change the play calling right now, but we'll see how they're able to respond on second and long here, setting up third down, if there is, of course, a third down.
Couple of quick subs coming in. Miles Schlosser comes in along with Oliver Roy. They'll send Roy in motion to the right, and they'll hand it off to Mooney. Mooney gets up the middle, and he's able to get it up to about the 16-yard line. So it was Cone Mooney who was able to get it almost all the way back to where that flag was thrown near the 14-yard line. And I think that may take us to the end of the first quarter. Indeed it will. No score in this one at the end of one on the Lorain County Sports Network. Welcome back out to Vermilion, where there's no score after one between the Sailors and the Huron Tigers. This has been an excellent matchup. We figured it might be a bit of a defensive struggle. It's certainly been that so far, Max.
Yeah, and both sides have been pushed into their own territory. Obviously, Vermilion was able to step up and get a crucial stop, forcing a missed field goal. And now the Huron defense is in a spot where they can shut this drive down with a 3rd and medium to go. So we'll see what they have in store here. Maybe bring another defender or two up to the box and try to do something about this rushing attack.
This drive started all the way back at their own 20-yard line. We're coming up on the 14th play of it. And as Max mentioned, coming up on a 3rd down and 6 scenario. And as you stated, by far their toughest 3rd down opportunity so far.
Yeah, it may lead to our first time seeing Mathis have to use his arm or make it look like he did last week at a very effective rate. But, of course, when he drops back, him taking off, it's always in the cards.
They've shared the responsibility in this running game so far as we expected they would between Mathis, Coons, and Mooney. Mathis in the shotgun, and he will have Mooney off his right hip. Mathis will keep it, tries to bounce it to the outside. He turns the corner at the 15. He's inside the 10, spun down at the 5-yard line. It'll be 1st down and goal for the Sailors.
Well, we saw a missed block on that right side. It did not matter. Mathis, every time he's been in a tough bind of a situation on this opening drive, he's found a way to bounce it outside and pick up the necessary yards.
Real nice blocks there. You mentioned there was one miss, but the receivers did a good job of holding out of theirs on the outside, allowing just enough room for him to get to the 5-yard line. So the Sailors have a chance to draw first blood here, 1st down and goal at the 5-yard line. Aaron Mathis will once again work with Mooney off his right side, 2 receivers lined up, far side left. They'll send one of them in motion. It's Roy, but it'll be a keeper by Mathis. Mathis has room, right side, fights forward, gets to about the 1-yard line. Dove forward, but came up just short of the goal line.
Well, and the best part about motioning somebody else into the backfield, when you don't hand it to your running back, I mean, you have 2 lead blockers, and it worked out beautifully that time. Mathis just following their lead blocks in there.
Huron has allowed an average of 143 yards per game on the ground, but they haven't allowed many points, though. They've allowed an average of just about 10 points per game. This has been a long, methodical drive, and it's just the way Vermilion has drawn it up to this point.
That's right. In the last 2 weeks, Huron's only given up 13 total points, so Vermilion looking to cut into that right here.
They've got 3 receivers bunched up near side to the right. That's the short side of the field. Mathis takes it again, takes it straight up the middle. He's awfully close, no signal just yet, and the early indication is that he's short of the goal line, setting up 3rd down and goal.
Well, the first guy we see climb out of there is Ben Davis, the biggest guy up on that defensive line. So he knows Aaron Mathis has 15 rushing touchdowns this season, so they're definitely keying in on him right now.
One of the leaders in the county in total touchdowns. We saw the leader last week put on a show with 7.
I mean, that's going to be tough to top for anybody the rest of this season.
It is 3rd and goal. They've got inches to go here on 3rd down. They'll line up in the I formation. It's a quick snap. They give it to Mathis. He's awfully close, but we have a touchdown, but there is a flag. We've got a flag coming from the far side. Right now it's a 1-yard touchdown rush, but let's see what the laundry's all about. The official on the far side of the field threw the flag.
We'll see. It could be procedural, which would be a killer right now for the Sailors.
It is indeed a procedure penalty against Vermilion. So that is a really tough one for Vermilion to take. because the play was a very simple one. Kind of that bush push, or that tush push as they call it. Smother the quarterback and will him into the end zone. Yeah. They did that, but there was a flag.
And it was a lot like the original bush push where Mathis looked like he was stood up at the line. Extra help from his teammates that was able to finish it off. Now, won't be as easy of a play call here.
So it's coming up on 3rd down and goal at the 5. 2 backs here once again. Mathis and Mooney. Keeper again by Mathis. Cuts inside, ran into his own lineman. He gets hit inside the 4-yard line and stood up. He will not get in. So a nice stand by this Huron defense. And we see a big shift in personnel. Zeke Dunn, the kicker, comes onto the field to try and give Vermilion an early lead.
And that's a tough break for Vermilion. You mentioned he ran into his left tackle, Jacob Meyer, who had a tough time setting the edge, so he tried to push his man outside. Unfortunately, Mathis read that almost instantly, trying to cut back in and just hits him right in the chest.
This is about a 22-yard field goal attempt. He's 17 for 24 on PAT attempts. Snap back, Zeke Dunn's field goal with plenty of distance, and it is good. So a 22-yard field goal is good from Zeke Dunn, and that will give Vermilion an early 3-0 lead with 8:52 to go here in the second quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. A long sustained drive results in 3 points for the Vermilion Sailors. Zeke Dunn, a 22-yard field goal to make it 3-0. They had the ball for a very long time. That was an 18-play drive. We have a long way to go on this one, but that's certainly an early candidate for our Valley Chevrolet drive of the game. Keep on driving with Valley Chevrolet in Wellington and Huron.
Well, and it also may have gone a long way in setting the tone for this game, as that defense, like we said in the open, a lot of two-way players, and now a lot of them have to come back out on offense and try to make some plays happen to regain a lead in this game.
After that 22-yard field goal, Zeke Dunn has it teed up at the 40-yard line, ready to kick it back. This will bounce at about the 10-yard line, picked up by Staley. Staley takes it past the 15. He's past the 20. Big seam up the middle. He's able to get to the 40, and he's twisted down at the 43-yard line. A terrific return by Caleb Staley, and that was one of your keys, Max. They've got to find a way to really contain this return game.
Yeah, obviously right there you see a wedge almost in effect, and a lot of great blocks there. Owen Ryan, one of the ones that stood out as him on special teams, as well as Hayden Wilson, a guy that we see in the game on offense and defense as well, and sets them up beautifully now. A lot better than they were to open the game.
Landon Hohler leading the charge offensively. He'll be back in the shotgun. He's got Hayden Wilson off his left hip. They set him in motion left side. They'll throw it out to him in the flat. Makes the catch of the 40. Room in front of him past the 50. He's able to get inside Sailor territory. Finally tackled at the 41-yard line. Bo Benish, along with Brock Myers, there to stop him after a big pickup.
Well, and when you see Wilson drift that far behind the line, you think that's too much ground to make up. Well, he catches it right at the line of scrimmage, and great blocks laid there by the likes of Grant Perriott, as well as Caleb Staley helped set that one up.
11 touchdown passes to 3 interceptions for this passing game on the year. But in the running game, they've got 11 trips to pay dirt as well. They've been pretty balanced. Hohler calls for the snap. He gives this one to Hayden Wilson, but Wilson is hit at the line of scrimmage. He's able to get 2 yards after that first initial contact, and he's able to set up a 2nd down and 8.
That is a great job just swallowing that play up there. It looked like Ryan Filer Johnson, one of the first Vermilion players to get in there that time.
We're playing Exterminator up here in the press box.
I thought we were past Wasp season, but apparently not.
I got one earlier. I knocked that guy down. I'm not sure I put him out of his misery just yet. 2nd down and 8 coming up. Hohler with Wilson to the backfield again. He's got 4 wide receivers to work with. Hohler looking left, throws left, and the pass is caught on the near side by Caleb Staley. He steps out of bounds near the 28-yard line, and that's a first down once again for the Tigers.
Staley now getting a lot more active in this ball game. Saw him on the kickoff return, and now a couple times to open this drive.
And this is a real nice response from a Huron offense that had their drive stalled. There was a penalty that cost them late, and then they had a 50-yard field goal attempt that missed short and left. They find themselves down 3-0, but they're on the move. First down and 10 at the Vermilion 28-yard line. They'll send a man in motion to the right. Hohler rolling out right, looking right, has a man open, caught at the 25-yard line, and knocked out of bounds close to the 20-yard line. He was able to complete that to Grant Perriott.
Well, right now, Vermilion's defense is going to have to get a handle on this motion into the flat route pattern because they're getting caught behind, and it's almost an automatic 5 yards when he catches it, not to mention the extra yards they're gaining after the catch.
And they've been able to apply a little bit of pressure to Landon Hohler, but for the most part, he's kept a pretty clean pocket. It's a keeper, has room up the middle, spins off of one defender, drags another one past the 18-yard line, got to about the 17, and they will move the sticks again.
And now we're going to see their offense, and that's what's so interesting to me is that you never see them really in a hurry. Hohler, very comfortable being able to give that off and so these guys create.
What a drive this has been for Huron. Hard to believe this is just the 3rd drive of the game altogether. They had a drive that lasted all of 12 plays. Vermilion's drive was 18 plays. So 2 really successful drives for both offenses to start this contest. Hohler back to pass, looking to his right, has a man open. It's caught right around the 5-yard line and taken in for a touchdown. So he's able to toss that 17 yards. He was able to get that to Austin Sass. And just an incredible drive that was set up by an outstanding kickoff return.
And on that play, that was set up and made possible by Hayden Wilson's block, picking up some extra pressure there. And once again, we see the man coverage burn Vermilion, this time for a touchdown.
Cameron man around for the extra point. Hold is down, extra point is on the way, and good. So after allowing a field goal to the Sailors and falling behind, it does not take the Tigers very long. They're able to march right down the field on 6 plays, and they cap it on a 17-yard touchdown pass to take a 7-3 lead with 5:39 to go in the second quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. Huron leads 7-3 over the Vermilion Sailors moments ago. A 17-yard touchdown pass from Landon Hohler to Austin Sass, making it 7-3, and that came a few moments after Vermilion had to settle for 3 on a drive that went 17 yards and took a lot of time off the clock, but they were able to get a field goal from Zeke Dunn. So 4 points now separate Huron and Vermilion, and the Sailors will get the ball back here momentarily. And Max, they had a real nice drive, their first time on offense.
Yeah, and they were in no hurry, obviously taking up a lot of time, being able to use their go-to plays. Now, as we're under halfway to go in this second quarter, we may have to see a little bit more urgency at certain points in this drive if they want to take the lead.
Manor will kick this away, and that will bounce in the end zone and shoot right through the back of it. So they will take over at their own 20-yard line. That's exactly where they had the ball on their last drive, when again they put a really good drive together. And you expect to see a lot more of that here.
Definitely do. And until Huron can prove that their box is going to be able to stop them, I mean, right now we've only seen them keep around 7 guys up there. Maybe they start to bring one of those safeties up or bring in an extra linebacker in place of somebody else. But the thing that makes it so difficult is because Vermilion, they still spread you out during that. So it's going to be tough for the Tigers to respond.
Mathis sends a man in motion, and they're going to hand this one off right side and nowhere to go. Boy, that Tiger defense swallowed that play up from the get-go. There was great penetration from the get-go, and there'll be about a 3-yard loss on that, and that was Dominic Muratori, senior 6'3", 210, who was able to get in the backfield for a loss of 2.
And that's part of what makes this Huron defense so stout. Now, this is the first time we've really seen it tonight, but they have a lot of length up there, make it pretty difficult to secure some of those edge blocks, and that time they weren't able to. And it almost appeared a lot more of the blockers maybe expected Mathis to get it. Not sure what kind of read was in play there, but certainly more blockers to the left side of the field.
Mathis fires near side to the right, but the pass falls incomplete. He was looking for Schlosser, and that pass just didn't have enough on it. It kind of skipped to him. And it'll be 3rd down and long here. So 3rd and long, not what we saw a whole lot of from this offense in their first drive of the game.
Yeah, a spot they didn't have to deal with. And now we saw them choose to pass on that last play. They may be forced to here. You don't want to get behind too early in this game. Obviously, still in the mid-second quarter, they got a lot of time, but you don't want to give this Huron offense any favorable field position.
Aaron Mathis will drop back, facing some pressure, rolling out near side right. He'll keep this one himself, and he is escorted out of bounds on the near sideline. He went out close to the 25. Jackson McNulty ran him out, and he will be well short of a first down.
And did what he could to get some of the yards back from the loss on the first down, but right there, it looked like Jackson McNulty was set up in a spy. So Huron well aware of his scrambling ability, and even though Muratori may have lost some ground there heading upfield too quickly, it just wasn't enough because McNulty stayed home.
Tommy McDonald, Caleb Staley waiting back to receive this punt. High end-over-end kick. McDonald retrieves it right around the 42-yard line of Huron. Takes it past the 50, and he's able to get up to about the 45 before he's tripped up and dropped, getting to the 44.
And a great job by McDonald there in that third phase, being able to make it a lot tougher now for the Sailor defense and put them in a tough spot, already down 4.
Great field position at the 44 of Vermilion. The last drive, it didn't take them very long. As a matter of fact, it took them just over 3 minutes to move the ball down the field and score the game's first touchdown. Paul Maloney back in the game as the tailback, replacing Hayden Wilson, who was in the backfield for their last drive. Hohler will keep it himself. Takes it up the middle, and he is twisted down to the 40. He picked up a couple on that, and they'll call him down at the 41 for a gain of 3.
Hohler was able to get a little more involved in that last drive out there and kind of threaten with his legs, and it just forces a lot more of the linebackers to stay home, make sure they're watching out for him, and obviously not just Maloney, who's very good as a runner in his own right.
5 wide look here as they've got 3 lined up to the near side, a pair lined up far side right. Vermilion going to rush 4. Hohler throws right side, caught by McDonald. He's tackled near the 36. So McDonald's able to pick up a pretty good chunk, but that'll bring up 3rd down and short.
It almost appeared that Aiden Kaiser was with him step for step, but as soon as the ball was released, McDonald just hit another gear there, was able to separate just enough.
They've got to get to the 34 to keep this drive alive, and you'd imagine that at this spot in the field, this is 4-down territory if they do not pick up the first down here.
Got to believe that, even with the great kicker as a weapon, with how well they've been able to move the ball the past 2 drives.
The give will go to Maloney. He had nowhere to go initially, trying to push the pile forward, and they'll give him maybe the original line of scrimmage. They'll put it down at the 36. He had nowhere to go. A real nice push up front by that Vermilion defensive line.
Yeah, Agnew helping rip him down, as it looked like he may have been able to get a second momentum boost there and get over the line, but was not able to. And now Vermilion has a chance to flip this momentum back around.
As expected, they're going to keep the offense on the field. They gave him the 35 with the forward progress, so it's 4th down and 1 coming up. 7-3, Huron leading Vermilion inside of 3 minutes to play in this second quarter. And we have whistles and a timeout called by Huron head coach Sam Hohler. Timeouts are brought to you by Lorain County Recorder Mike Duran, securing and organizing real estate documents. That's Lorain County Recorder Mike Duran. We'll take a timeout as well here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Huge moment in this game coming up. It'll be 4th down and 1 for Huron at the Vermilion 35-yard line. Tigers leading the Sailors 7-3 in this one. There have only been a few drives in this game. As a matter of fact, for Huron, this is just their 3rd drive of the contest. And despite the fact that both offenses kind of seem to be on schedule for the most part, it's been a low-scoring game.
Yeah, they've had to fight to keep drives alive, and now we'll have to see Huron do the same here.
They'll give it to Maloney. Maloney hit initially at the 35-yard line. I don't think he got there. He is going to be awfully short. It'll depend on the spot, but this Vermilion defense is fired up, and he is going to be short. He didn't get there.
Very fired up, and Brownell, the 5'7" junior there, was able to shoot into the backfield unaccounted for, got his legs and did just enough to help everybody else rally in time.
What a stand by this Vermilion defense. You mentioned it before the snap. A chance for Vermilion to snatch the momentum back. They deny the Huron offense. They turn it over on downs, and now they'll get it back at the 34.
And you can kind of see it on the corner of your screen there. The Huron coaches are irate because the ball was moved up about a half yard, but still, in the ref's eyes, not enough to get that first down.
Mathis going to run this one near side of the right, looking for room, turns it up the field. He got up to about the 40, so it's about a 6-yard pickup. And a nice decision there at the end, because you want to go east and west until you find something, but you get to a point, Max, where you got to start going north and south, and he did just enough there at the right time.
He's definitely shown it a few times. Once he makes his decision to cut, it's very emphasized, and he gets upfield quickly. And they're also going to have to be moving quickly here as we get close to the 2-minute mark in the second quarter.
They are armed with all 3 timeouts. 2 minutes to go here, second quarter. They're down 7-3. They'll send a man in motion. They'll give this one to Mooney. Big room to run. Goes up the middle, collides with a Huron Tiger at the 49. That's where he goes down. After getting the chain gang a workout again, they'll march forward as they get inside Huron territory.
And the hole there so wide that blockers, Oliver Roy as well as Tim Butcher, the right guard, they had nobody to block initially, so almost outrunning his blockers there that time.
They've got a pair of receivers lined up far side to the left. And it'll be Mooney again off the left tip of Mathis. Mathis throws left side. The pass was tipped. It falls incomplete. Looking for Oliver Roy. And if he had caught that, he had maybe a little bit of room to run. Not a ton, but they would have gotten a decent chunk there on first down.
It would have certainly helped them move out of this midfield spot. But with 1:32 to go, they're in like you mentioned, all those timeouts. They can still use their running attack here. Obviously, they're bread and butter, but once they hit under that minute to go, they're probably going to have to solely rely on the air.
92 seconds remain in this second quarter. It's 2nd down and 10 coming up for the Sailors. They'll send a man in motion. Double handoff. They give it to Coons. Coons, room to run right side. He's able to get past the 40. He's able to get past the 35, and he's twisted down at the 34-yard line. The double handoff again, and this time Evan Coons picks up the first down.
We haven't seen him as active tonight. 5 carries for him, 7 for Mooney, and 9 for Mathis. Good to see them getting Coons back involved, but also it leaves a lot of fresh legs.
It's one of the dangerous aspects of this rushing attack. So many guys that can beat you in the ground game. It's 1st down and 10 from the 34 of Huron. Approaching a minute left in this second quarter. Mathis takes the snap, runs it near side right. Able to turn it up the field to the 30-yard line, and then he's corralled near the 26. Paul Maloney brought him down. He had some help from Joe Wood and a whistle, and we have a timeout called by Vermilion. That's their first of the half. We'll take this timeout as well. Huron 7, Vermilion 3 with 50 seconds to play in the second quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. Second down and 10 coming up here for the Vermilion Sailors coming out of that timeout. Check that. It's going to be second down and about 2 coming up for the Sailors coming out of the timeout. With 50 seconds to play in the second quarter, I want to remind you, coming up at the half, we've got the Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. Scores from around the area, first half stats, and much, much more.
Coming out of that timeout, they were able to get a little bit further than I thought they'd be able to before having to burn one of those timeouts. So now they're still in a spot 26 yards away where they can afford to hit the ground game.
Mathis grabs the snap. They hand it off to Mooney. Mooney takes it right up the middle past the 20-yard line, pushing the pile. It's still going past the 15-yard line. So many bodies involved in that rugby scrum. He'll get to the 14-yard line. It's going to be first down inside the red zone.
And you love a big pile push like that. Now, in a situation like this where it's tough to see where he's going down at, they may not love it, but it got a couple extra yards there and now makes it a very manageable situation here inside the red zone.
So Cone Mooney picks up first down yardage, and the clock will stop with 40 seconds as another timeout has been called. We'll go ahead and keep this one here, because we're coming up on a big moment in this game where Vermilion has a chance to perhaps score. And don't forget, they get the ball to begin the second half.
Yeah, we talked about grabbing the momentum off of that fourth down stop, and now they're keeping it going here, and it'd be huge to take it into halftime with them. As Huron, I mean, they've been in a couple tight games the past few weeks. They might, obviously, no stranger to the situation, but against Vermilion, it certainly is. I mean, remember, this is a game to remind folks listening and watching how far Vermilion has come. Last year, it was a 56-0 win for Huron. So they haven't been in a situation like this against the Sailors in a long time. And for Vermilion, that's just building up more and more confidence as this game goes on.
Yeah, this game tonight, a totally new meaning from what it's meant in the last couple of years for sure. Mathis will grab the snap. They botch the handoff to Roy. Oliver Roy is able to get up to the 20. Looked like he almost lost the ball again. Then he was dragged down back at the 25-yard line. They may mark forward progress down at the 20. So a timeout has been called by Vermilion again. Again, forward progress. They'll spot the ball down at about the 20-yard line. That's pretty generous because that ball was juggled, and then he had nowhere to go after he picked it up after having a tough time on the exchange.
Yeah, and it's too bad because the wide side of the field was there to work with. If he didn't have to adjust for the almost losing the ball, he may have been able to find the outside, hit the perimeter instead. He continued to try to work his way out there, but just great job responding and gaining contain there by the Tigers.
Well, now things get really difficult as they've got to get just inside the 5-yard line for a fresh set of downs. That's not necessarily as big of a deal as the clock right now, because with 29 seconds left, and the way they run the ball, they don't take many chances through the air. Time really working against them.
And the worst part is they've now played themselves out of a spike situation. It's it's second down. If you go and spike it, you're earning third down. So you basically have to go for a sideline route here, or whatever you can to get out of bounds after this play.
Coming into tonight's game, Mathis just 33 for 68 through the air. Again, because that running game is so good, they haven't had to take many shots through the air. Mathis will drop back. Pressure coming from his left side. Steps away from it. Rolling out near side right. Fires this one to the corner of the end zone. Got a man wide open, but he dropped it in the back of the end zone. It's incomplete. Oh, he had it and dropped it in the back of the end zone. That would have given the Sailors the lead for sure. Dominic DeFucci just not able to hang on to it all by his lonesome in the back of the end zone.
Well, in a masterful job there getting out of the pocket. It looked like Dominic Muratori for Huron was going to have a free hit on Mathis. Instead, he fakes him out and is able to roll there. And on the run, you can't ask for a better throw than that towards the back pylon.
What a pass by Aaron Mathis. The escapability, you alluded to that, and then found DeFucci, who somehow snuck behind the defense. Third down and a long ways to go. They've got to get 15 yards to pick up a fresh set of downs. Mathis rolling right, throwing right, incomplete. Was looking for Miles Schlosser. That pass fell incomplete, and you know, they're probably better off that he didn't catch that because Tommy McDonald was just licking his chops, ready to put a big hit on Schlosser if he had hung on.
He definitely was, and under 20 seconds there, if it was hauled in and you're probably going down inbounds, I mean, you're basically playing a fire drill to get that field goal team out there, so this definitely will work out a little bit better for the three-point attempt.
Looking for three here as Zeke Dunn comes out onto the field. Hit one from 22 yards earlier tonight. They'll send the snap back. Hold is down. Kick is on the way. It's very low, and it's way left. It's no good. And the path that took, I'm not sure that wasn't partially deflected. It kind of had that wounded duck motion as it was going to the left, and it hung kind of low as well.
It may have been, and there's also the possibility of wind, so a lot of things working against Vermilion on that field goal attempt. And that's the second time going into that end zone we've seen a field goal miss wide left.
So with 13 seconds remaining on this second quarter clock, it's 1st and 10 for Huron from their own 20. They can't help but feel like maybe they dodged a bit of a bullet on that last drive. And they're going to come up to the line and probably just take a knee, and that'll be the end of the opening half. Well, this has been an interesting one so far. Low scoring, but then again, the way these two teams play defensively, you had to expect there wouldn't be a ton of points scored in this one.
No, not at all. And again, a lot of what we expected, and very balanced so far here. And we'll see if Vermilion can shake off how that last drive ended. As you mentioned it earlier, they're going to get the ball to open the third quarter.
All right, well, here in just a moment, we will launch right into the Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. Uninsured, enroll today with Health Markets Insurance in Amherst. Lots to get to. First half stats. We'll rate the dog, as we always do every single Friday night. Scores from across the area. We'll give you a scoring recap and much, much more here in just a moment. But again, at the half, it is Huron 7, Vermilion 3 here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Halftime here at Vermilion, where the Sailors trail Huron 7-3. The halftime show brought to you by Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance. Uninsured, enrolled today with Health Markets Insurance in Amherst. Andy Bolbarch, Max Drummond on the call. Edwin Vereen is our director, and we've got Sam Sovacool working the camera tonight. Cruising towards the finish line here in the high school football season. Just a couple of weeks left, and this one with conference and playoff implications certainly on the line coming into tonight's game. Huron Division 6, Region 22. They were the third-ranked team in that region, 10th best team in the state according to the latest polls. And Vermilion coming in Division 4, Region 14, 6th with a goal in mind of hosting a playoff game here. That's still a possibility, no doubt about that, and what has been a magical turnaround season for the Sailors. And before we get into the scoring recap of the stats, Max, some of your overall thoughts from what you've seen to this point.
Well, we've seen Vermilion come out and be able to take the punch on the opening drive, as Huron looked like they were in a groove going right down the field, but they responded well, and I think their defense has also stepped up in a lot of points, most notably that fourth down. But won't try to take too much from the drive recaps, but yeah, just very physical game up front from both sides, and really excited to see who's able to sustain that for longer into the second half.
And it's what we anticipated, right? I think everybody kind of expected that you'd have a lot of hard hits. There's a lot of passion in this game too, right? You're talking about one side that's thoroughly dominated this rivalry. The other side hasn't really had a taste of victory in this matchup since the Eisenhower administration, right? So it's been a very, very long time, but you can certainly feel that passion, especially from the near side, the home crowd, really getting into this one. All right, let's take a look at the drives that have gone down to this point. A missed 50-yard field goal attempt from one of the better kickers in Division 6, in Cameron Manor. He was 9 of 12 coming in. We were kind of surprised to see him attempt that, but it was a 50-yarder that was short and left. That brought an opening drive of the game to an end for Huron. They had converted on third down and long a couple of times on that drive. Vermilion would take over at their own 20-yard line. They were able to march the ball inside the 5-yard line, had to settle for a field goal on a drive that went 17 plays, but they finished that drive with 3 points and a 22-yard field goal from Zeke Dunn. After a really nice kickoff return from Caleb Staley, they were set up at their own 43-yard line, Huron was, and then they needed just 6 plays to find the end zone. A 17-yard touchdown pass from Landon Hohler to Grant Perriott, making it 7-3 with 5.5 minutes to play in the second quarter. Nobody scored after that. It looked like Huron was on the move to go up by a couple of scores, but they turned the ball over on downs. They were stopped on 4th down and short at the Vermilion 35-yard line. Vermilion was able to get close, nearly had a touchdown pass in the right corner of the end zone, but Dominic DeFucci not able to hang on to it. They attempted a 38-yard field goal from Zeke Dunn, but that missed short and left as well, and that's where we are.
It's been a really back and forth. The scoreboard won't reflect that entirely, but it's going to be interesting to see whose defense can hold on longer. I mean, it's each side has found ways to attack the opposing defense, and now these adjustments are going to be huge at halftime, as they always are, but they're going to have to go out and execute them here.
No doubt about it. Well, let's take a look at some of those first half stats brought to you by Al Januzzi CPA. It's all about the numbers. That's Al Januzzi CPA. Coach Januzzi probably getting ready to rock and roll with those Open Door Patriots, opening up the basketball season very, very soon here. So let's take a look at some of those first half stats.
Let's do it as we start with Vermilion, and we're getting a lot of what we anticipated from both sides. The Sailors, they've got 3 different guys doing the bulk of the carrying right now. Leading the way, Aaron Mathis, 10 carries, 68 yards, and a lot in off-schedule plays as well. Also, Cohen Mooney, 8 carries, 47 yards. And then we've got, of course, Evan Coons, who is averaging 5.8 yards a carry. So collectively, they're all averaging over 5 yards a carry, 138 yards on the ground so far. And then through the air, 0 of 4. We mentioned the miss in the end zone near the end of the half. So it does look like this game is setting up to where they're going to have to make a couple big throws in the second half. Then looking over at Huron, of course, Landon Hohler doing a lot on offense for them, 8 of 11 through the air, 76 yards, and the touchdown pass to Grant Perriott. And Perriott, 2 catches for 24 yards. Not their leading receiver coming into the game, but he's gotten some looks so far. And Tommy McDonald, that is, 3 catches for 21 yards. And then on the ground, it's Ben Hohler, 4 carries, 16 yards, by far the leading rusher, and they're barely averaging 3.5 yards a carry. So we'll see if they have to get that going a little bit more and try to help keep that Vermilion defense on the field for longer stretches.
And this is a complete and total contrast from what we've seen in recent weeks, right? We're used to lightning quick drives and having like close to 15 to 20 drives per team per game. It just hasn't been that way here tonight. It's been a slugfest, and I'm sure both of these teams would tell you they wouldn't have it any other way.
That's right.
All right, let's take a timeout here on the Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. When we come back, we'll take a look at some scores from across the area, and we're also going to rate the dog. We're going to stuff our faces during the break and come back with a score for these hot dogs here in Vermilion, and much, much more against 7-3 at the half. Huron leads Vermilion on the Lorain County Sports Network. We're at the half here in Vermilion. Sailors trailing Huron 7-3 in this one. So glad to have you with us on a beautiful Friday night here in Vermilion for an SBC battle. Lorain County's 4 horsemen have made the trek out here. We're over in Avon next week for a battle between the Eagles and a team looking to pull the wool over their eyes. And the Amherst Comets right now, they're in control over Elyria in a big way, getting ready for that one next week. Let's take a look at some other scores from across the area. We begin with the LC8. And an interesting one going down right now as Columbia is leading Clearview 14-12. Clearview unbeaten on the season at 6-0, but Columbia flexing some muscle in that one. Black River leading Brookside 13-0. Firelands trailing 13-10 to Keystone, and Wellington and Oberlin still searching for a score in that one. In the SWC, Avon all over Midview 35-7. Olmsted Falls trailing Avon Lake 21-10. The Shoremen have all of a sudden turned a corner. That looks like a much different team than the one you and I saw earlier this year, Max.
You've got that right. I mean, they fixed up a lot of things. I'm sure they've gotten a little bit healthier, especially at that quarterback spot. And really looking forward to see how the rest of their season takes shape. And that just goes to show, I mean, the true season where you can kind of find your way starts in conference play, and they've lived up to that entirely.
Who do they play last week of the season again?
Oh, I think it's going to be quite the matchup. I'm sure that's in the back of everybody's mind up there.
I mean, it's the one that essentially doesn't necessarily break because you get the playoffs coming up afterwards, but it makes the regular season if you win that game for both sides.
And the Southwestern Conference hangs in the balance until that point, it appears.
As it does every single year, it's certainly shaping up that way right now. As expected, Amherst all over Elyria, 28-3, and North Ridgeville having some fun at the expense of Berea Midpark, 28-7. Elyria Catholic having a tough time playing Lake Catholic. Lake Catholic up 35-6. No update between Lorraine and Shaw. That game actually started an hour earlier. We were told earlier this week they were going to kick off at 6 o'clock. We mentioned earlier the score here, 7-3. Huron leading Vermilion. Clyde trailing Sandusky 14-7. And Perkins all over Norwalk 33-0. Friday night recap is brought to you by Network Land Title Agency, safeguarding your investment and ensuring peace of mind. That's Network Land Title Agency. Thumbs up to my man Edwin Vereen for getting me those scores to read off to you there during the halftime show. And now it's time for us to rate the dog. It's brought to you by Brian Victor of Howard Hanna Real Estate. Brian says, enjoy the game. We'll enjoy the game and the dog. It's kind of a double whammy here at halftime. That's an excellent hot dog. A couple of weeks ago when we were at North Ridgeville, I think we were just spoiled. The more I think about that might have been like a 5.1. That was such a good dog. This one's terrific. A lot of bun, though. So I can't give it a perfect score, but I would go somewhere in the area of like a 4.2.
Yeah, and it was worth the wait as this setup here in Vermilion, the concession stand we went to over across behind the visiting bleachers that you're seeing on the screen now. So it was definitely worth the delivery wait from Sam. I'm going to come in right at a 3.9.
3.9. Easy E, what do you say, big fella? 4? 4-3. Wow, okay. A very, very nice score from Edwin Vereen, and Sam says 4-1. We got those so quickly, and we referenced this last week, because we have a guy that, if he's not, he should be a Hall of Famer over in Westlake. I mean, lightning speed. He was a track athlete. He got there in no time whatsoever. So, outstanding stuff from Sam Sovacol, getting us the hot dogs from the concession stand in record time. He does that every single week. One week he was so good, he got us the hot dogs before the game even started.
Yes, we're always surprised by that, but we shouldn't be anymore. I mean, he's been able to make this happen every week now, and that, like you said, coming from the Vermilion band concession stand as they finish up performing here at halftime.
We embarrassed him so much he had to leave the press box. Either that or he just wanted to hear the Vermilion marching band do their thing. All right, again at the half, it is 7-3. Huron on top of Vermilion. We'll take another timeout and come back with some second half keys and much, much more to get you ready for the second half kick between Vermilion and Huron on the Lorain County Sports Network. Just a few moments away from kicking off the second half here at Vermilion between the Sailors and the Huron Tigers. Right now, Huron leading 7-3. Putting the finishing touches on the Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. Uninsured, enrolled today with Health Markets Insurance in Amherst. Andy Bullbarch joined alongside Max Drummond providing the colorful analysis. Sam Sovacle working the camera. Exterminator and producer extraordinaire Edwin Vereen taking care of the bees, who have just seemed to swarm all over us up here in the box, but the real Eddie Cool said, no, sir, and he got rid of it.
Yeah, no, looking out for us, and I would not want to be that bee. That's all I'm saying.
He got rid of it, man, and now he's flexing up here as he should be. All right, Max, let's take a look at some keys in the second half for both sides.
Well, speaking of flexing, both of these defenses have done a pretty good job at that so far. And to start with Vermilion, because they've had a couple of missed opportunities here to get on the board, we got to see them be able to put the exclamation point on these drives, finish them with touchdowns, and whether it's been a penalty or maybe just being set off track by a mishap, like almost fumble, they just need to block those out. They need to avoid those here, which may be easier said than done against a good Huron defense. And then as for the Tigers, I think we need to see a little bit more rolling out from Hohler, as he's found a lot of success being able to hit his weapons on those out routes. Maybe they can eventually set one up down the field and really extend away and try to pull away from Vermilion here in the second half.
Coming up on the first snap of the second half, and the first snap of each half is brought to you by Janasco Insurance. The protection you need, the service you deserve, that's Janasco Insurance. Maria Janasco back at the Radio Ranch along with Paul Williams and Dave Gredchinski. Heard from the Grizzer a few moments ago. He's back in the catbird seat back at the ranch, ready to give you the post-game show, which is brought to you by I-90 Nissan in Sheffield Village. Make sure you dial into WOBL and WDLW, because Dave, Paul, and Maria will have the scores for you, and they'll talk to some of the game-winning coaches and players from across the area as well.
And whether that's on the radio airwaves or on our WOBL, WDW Sports Facebook page, and you can see them on video, as well as they're going to talk to a lot of coaches, players, and just make sure you know what's happening here around Northeast Ohio in high school football.
That trio is always a lot of fun to listen to. I tell them every single week, it just makes that drive back no matter where we are, whether we're up here in Vermilion or if we're down in Black River. It makes that drive seem so short on my way back home, because that show is just so awesome.
That's right, and well-informed heading into the next week. And believe it or not, next week is week 9, so you got to be up to date and informed about how these conference title races are shaking out, where teams are stacking up in their respective regions, as we're going to see a lot of shuffling, especially in ones like Region 6, where a lot of SWC opponents who have played each other kind of stack up in there, and there's a few more regions that are like that around the county as well.
Evan Coons and Dominic DeFucci both back deep to receive this kickoff from Cameron Manor. It's been a tough game to score. The score certainly indicates that. It's 7-3 Huron, but that's not to say that both teams haven't moved the ball. They definitely have to this point. The drives have been long. They just haven't resulted in a ton of points.
We got to see Huron make a couple plays on kickoff returns. We'll see if Vermilion can return the favor here and help give that offense a bit of a boost coming out of halftime.
Manor kicks this away. Coons watches it bounce to the 15-yard line. He'll pick it up on a few hops inside the 5. Coons will take it past the 10, gets past the 15, lost the ball. It's on the turf, and Huron picked it up right around the 12-yard line. Oh, what a disaster for Vermilion. Coons looked like he sprung free, but the second he got loose past the 15, the ball got punched out of his hands, and Huron delivers the game's first turnover. They'll get it inside the red zone.
Well, and Coons, as he approached the 15-yard line or so, he had Tigers in a couple different spots around him, so he may have been trying to avoid one, not realizing another one was there, left the ball out a little too loose, not high and tight, and it results now in a almost first and goal situation for Huron here. Disaster scenario.
Ball placed at the 14-yard line. It'll be first down and 10 for the Tigers. Landon Hohler grabs the snap, pitches left side to Maloney. Maloney trying to turn the corner. He gets up to about the 10, where he's undercut after a pickup of just about 4.
Yeah, good job by Oliver Roy tracking that out to the numbers there and being able to shut that play down before we saw it get inside the 10.
Well, and immediately here you're in a position where if you're Vermilion, you're happy surrendering just 3. That would kind of cushion the blow just a bit, but that's a tough one to swallow and a tough thing to play for when you're already down 7-3.
Well, the crucial point here is this defensive line. They've stepped up a lot tonight. They're going to have to create some havoc here on these next couple plays.
Hayden Wilson in the game now, next to Hohler. Hohler back to pass, has time, throws across the middle, caught by Joe Wood, a sliding catch right around the 5-yard line. That won't pick up the first down, but it brings up a 3rd down and short. Nice sliding grab by Joe Wood.
And it was a tight window, too. I mean, Coons was kind of drifting into that location there in the zone. And, I mean, Hohler let it rip anyway, and he did a good job positioning it low enough where his guy Wood couldn't get hit after making the catch.
So they'll call this a 3rd and 2 scenario here. Have to get to the 3-yard line to pick up a fresh set of downs and make it 1st and goal. They'll send a man in motion. Hohler facing some pressure, throws this one to the back of the end zone. Nobody home. There was nobody back there, and he saw that play just did not develop. That's a smart play to just let it loose and let nobody catch it.
It definitely is, because you almost are guaranteed automatic points with your kicker if you choose to go that route, and close enough to still go for it on 4th. But that time, for one of the first times this evening, we've seen McDonald get cover up on that motion into the flat route. And then when he turned to the end zone for McNulty, he was already covered, so both reads matched up well with nicely by the Sailors.
This will be just about a 22-yard field goal attempt from Cameron Manor. He missed one earlier tonight, but that was from 50 yards away. They'll send the snap back. Hold is down. The kick has plenty of distance. He'll split the uprights. The 22-yard field goal is good. So that'll make it 10-3. Huron leading Vermilion here in the 3rd quarter with 10:20 left on the Lorain County Sports Network. A field goal moments ago from Cameron Manor makes it 10-3 Huron. And while 3 points, something you never want to give up, that's not bad considering the scenario they were in, Max.
Not at all. It obviously was a free possession there for the Tigers, so they, in a way, take advantage. But, I mean, for Vermilion, still being in a chance to tie the game, a position to tie the game here, if they can go down the field on this drive, that's a huge step in the right direction. Great job by that defense not coming out flat, because meanwhile, it was still halftime. You probably weren't prepping as much as you were the offensive side.
Cameron Manor ready to kick it away. Evan Coons, Dominic DeFucci both standing at their own 5-yard line. High kick, end over end. Coons will let this bounce at the 3-yard line. It goes into the end zone for a touchback. And probably a wise decision there. And not just because of what happened on that last kickoff, but you pick that up on a hop with the ball going away from you. You don't have a whole lot of momentum to pick that up, and you're better off just letting it go out of the end zone.
No, you're exactly right, off of principle there. And I mean, Manor, he's done a great job of getting these kicks on line drives to where they can easily go out of the end zone, but they're in the field of play, and they're almost tempting, daring these returners to try it. And meanwhile, the coverage team is getting down inside the 30 by the time they're able to pick up the ball.
We'll get our first look at the Vermilion offense in the second half. Again, they were able to move the ball in the first half, but only ended up with 3 points. It'll be Aaron Mathis, senior quarterback, ready to take the shotgun snap. They'll hand it off to Mooney. He's got room, dances right, gets past the 25-yard line. He's tackled from behind at the 31. Ben Davis got to him, but not before he picked up 11 yards.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to start the drive, and trusting Evan Coons getting him right back involved into the rotation despite the fumble a couple plays ago.
We've often referenced that three-headed monster. Evan Coons, Cone Mooney, Aaron Mathis. They all have well over 360 yards rushing on the season, all with at least a handful of touchdowns as well. And now it seems like there's a little confusion with the officiating crew, but it looks like everything is where they want it right now. It's 1st down and 10, but the chain gang seems to be a little bit off kilter on the far side.
It looks like they were reattaching one of the sticks there, and looks like now Ray, good to go.
So it'll be first down and 10. They mark him down at the 30, officially a pickup of just 10 yards. They'll send a man in motion, and they'll give it to that man in motion. It's taken up to about the 35-yard line, about a 5-yard pickup. They were able to give that to Oliver Roy, who wasn't listed as a starter, but a guy that does play a big role on both sides of the ball.
And he's the guy they tried to get involved on that trick play, that reverse near the end of the half. This time able to secure it and pick up a nice play on first down around 5 yards.
2nd and 5 coming up. Mathis with Mooney off his right hip. Wants the snap, he gets it. Hands it off to Mooney. Mooney plows right up the middle. He's able to get up to the 39. So he's close to a first down. That'll be 3rd down and short here.
Well, and we're seeing no drop-off from this offensive line. A couple pancakes on that play as well. They're being very physical and just outmanning them up front at the moment against the Tigers.
That's that 1,000-pound club, right, that Coach DeFucci referenced in the Buckeye Community Bank Coach's Corner.
It certainly is causing fits right now for that Huron defense. As, yes, there's only 3 points on the board, but they're going to be exhausted by the end of this game, especially in that 4th quarter.
3rd down and 1 for Vermilion. Mathis grabs the snap. He'll run it right side. Has to dance his way out of traffic. He gets awfully close to the 40-yard line. It's going to be really close. Hard to tell where he is exactly. The official on the far side makes it look like maybe he's got the 40-yard line. That would be a first down. And they're going to give him a first down.
Well, we've seen the hesitation pay off a few times this evening, and normally it's when he bounces the ball outside. Right there, forced just to go right at the line and get a couple of inches maybe up to the 40-yard line.
And a good job of figuring out quickly he had to go north and south. When you're trying to pick up just 1 yard, you're tempted to be a little extra patient, but there I think he knew he had to go. They'll hand it off to Coons. Coons takes it right side. He's able to push his way up to the 45-yard line. Almost kind of looked like Ben Davis trying to jump on the pile, slow things down there.
And that would probably be the only way to do it, as tonight, those running backs, once they've picked up a little bit of steam, they've been a full locomotion going at those defensive players there.
One thing that stands out about Vermilion, they're getting a lot of yards on first down. And they're making the play calls a heck of a lot easier on 2nd and 3rd downs as a result.
That's right. We haven't really been able to see Huron pin their ears back at all. And once again, just 7 men up there.
Coons on the carry. Tries to turn the corner left side. He's able to get to the 50 before he lowers his shoulder, and he gets close to the 49 of Huron. And they'll give the chain gang a workout once again. He was able to lower the boom that time on Grant Perriott, who comes away a little gingerly at the end of that one.
Yeah, you better load up there and be ready to tackle these guys, and especially out on the perimeter. We haven't seen it too often, but when he chooses to cut outside, he's having no issues bowling through and getting a few extra yards.
First down, you could argue, has been their best down so far tonight. Under center now, Mathis. A different look, and they'll give it to Mooney. Mooney goes right up the middle, has all kinds of room to run, finally spun down near the 42. Another big pickup on first down. They get just about 7.
Yeah, now we're seeing these running backs continue to block for each other too, setting up their own opportunities. And I like the under center look, how it looks for them, a little bit more directive in attack.
We mentioned that 1,000-pound club. To talk about the strength of these kids, because they're not huge. Left tackle Jacob Mayer, 6 foot 200 pounds. Left guard Chad Ellis, 5'9", 185. We'll get to more of them here in just a second. As Mathis will grab the snap, and they'll give it left side to Mooney. Mooney's able to get past the 40-yard line. Finally goes down near the 39. He gets taken down by Jackson McNulty. Also in on that stop was Landon Hohler. And it'll be 3rd down and short. But the rest of this offensive line, Mason Plass, 6 foot 265. Right guard Tim Butcher, 5'10", 200. And then Colin Agnew, 6'2", 180.
So that's center Plass, like you mentioned, 265. The anomaly there up front. The rest of the guys, they're going to be undersized in most of their matchups. It has not mattered. Their mindset has overcome that each week and overcomes it here with another first down.
It's 10-3 Huron, just inside of 6 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter.
And you mentioned at the end of that last play, McNulty being one of the tacklers there. These linebackers, as long as at the point of attack they're getting beat up front, they're going to have to make a few more plays, maybe be sent on a couple extra pressures than normal.
He'll hand it off to Coons left side. He breaks free, gets past the 30-yard line, steps out of a tackle, and he's dropped at the 21-yard line for another first down. Joel Wood was able to grab a hold of his legs and bring him to the grass, but they pick up another fresh set of downs.
And right there, we kind of predicted it. McNulty coming off of the right side of that line. Unfortunately, they just ran left, and the misdirection there opened it up perfectly, picking up around 18 on that one.
Evan Coons has had the hot hand on this drive. They'll have Coons lined up right behind Mathis. Mathis will hand it off to Coons again. Tried to turn the corner right side. This time, nothing doing. They'll whistle that play dead as it never really developed. That's a no-gainer.
And he tried to get away from a couple tacklers there, but just blown up too quickly. And this is the first second and long that we've seen in a while.
And we've talked a lot about just how good they've been on first down, but that time the front four for the Tigers were able to really kind of limit any kind of momentum that Vermilion had picked up the last few plays. Mathis will grab the snap. It's a keeper. He's going to take it right side, able to lower his shoulder and plow forward inside the 20, and he got maybe to the 17-yard line, so he picks up just a few, setting up third down.
And what's standing out even more to me now as this drive goes on is we are seeing some adjustments here from Huron, loading up the box, getting a few more defenders in that vicinity, because right there, Oliver Roy in the slot had nobody over him for the next 10 yards. So clearly they're not even thinking Vermilion is going to go to the air. We'll see if the Sailors choose to try to diagnose that and maybe attack that weakness.
Mooney off the left tip now with the quarterback. Mathis, they'll send a man in motion. And they're going to give it to that man in motion. Take it near side, inside the 10-yard line, inside the 5, and it's a touchdown for Vermilion. It's Evan Coons who's able to take it into the end zone, and they're an extra point away from tying this game up at 10 apiece. It's a 17-yard touchdown rush, and I take that back. That was not Coons, that was Oliver Roy. Oliver Roy takes it in on that sweep coming to the near side. They gave it to him in motion. Oliver Roy on the touchdown rush from 17 yards away, and now they're an extra point away from tying this up.
And that's the third time we've seen them go to him. This was easily the most successful, as they were able to preview it a little bit earlier in this drive, and right there he's just able to get away from everybody on the Tigers defense.
Zeke Dunn on for the extra point. The hold is down, extra point on the way, plenty of distance, and it is good. A 12-play, 80-yard drive comes to a close and a 17-yard touchdown rush from Oliver Roy, and we are tied at 10 apiece with 3:31 to go here in the third quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. Moments ago, a 17-yard touchdown dash by Oliver Roy ties this game at 10 apiece, and that was a really nice drive put together by that Vermilion offense, and it came on the heels of a really nice defensive stand where they were able to limit Huron to just 3 points on a drive where they took over inside the Vermilion 15-yard line. So the second half maybe hasn't gone according to plan with that fumble to start the half, but since that fumble, Vermilion has been excellent, Max.
Yes, they have, and now 0-0 ball game once again, right back into their comfort zone. And after the unsportsmanlike penalty at the end of that touchdown, they're going to be kicking off from the 45. So we've seen Huron have a couple nice returns, may not have that same luxury on this play.
And there was a flag that we missed because Vermilion's going to kick this off from the Huron 45-yard line. Dunn will kick this away, high end over end kick that will go through the back of the end zone. And that's also another huge win for Vermilion because you keep the ball out of the hands of Tommy McDonald along with Caleb Staley, who have both had profound impacts on the return game.
They certainly have, and this is a composed team right now. They didn't panic at all with their backs against the wall a couple drives ago on defense. And there's 20 returning letter winners on this roster, and that's on full display not only this season but tonight here, getting back to an even score in this ball game.
First down and 10 for Huron at their own 20-yard line. Landon Hohler, junior quarterback, takes a low snap. The ball's on the turf. Hohler somehow able to scramble forward, and it looks like he was able to pick that up right around the 17-yard line. Boy, how in the world did he pick that up?
Well, he's the one that kicked it away from himself. He was looking to pick it up, keep the play alive. Instead, he had to scramble around without the football, and they're going to lose around 5 yards. My goodness.
They'll mark it down at the 16-yard line, officially a loss of 4. And you could feel the top getting ready to pop off of this place if they had picked this thing, if they picked that ball up. Hohler grabs the snap, rolling out near side of the right, looking down the field, and the pass is caught right around the 21-yard line. He was able to get that to Grant Perriott, but we do have a flag back around the 11-yard line.
Well, that's a real tough throw. Even rolling to the side it's going to and not across your body, that's still getting it to the sideline away from the defender.
It is a hold going against the Tigers. Where that was thrown, we figured that might be the call.
It appeared Bo Benish was on the ground, so maybe tackled to the ground last second, and we've seen a couple of those guys up there be able to have an impact and get in the backfield throughout this game.
Well, tonight there's no Coach DeFucci. Dave DeMoncos is assuming the head coaching responsibilities for the Sailors, so the officials were checking with him to try and figure this scenario out, but this will put the ball all the way back at the 5-yard line.
And now, after opening the half with the best case scenario possible, Huron, they find themselves now in a position where their backs are against the wall and Vermilion can be the aggressors.
And we've got whistles. Our head referee, Mike Sassaman, had called for that. Not exactly sure what the issue was, but I think there was an issue with where the ball was supposed to be spotted. It was at the 5. They've moved it up to about the 7. So now we'll get going again. Man in motion, it's Staley. It'll be a keeper by Hohler. Hohler goes up the middle with room to run past the 15. He goes close to the 16, maybe the 17-yard line. So he's able to get a little bit there, but they still have a ways to go here on third down.
That they do, and certainly a setup play there. Now we'll likely see them go back to the air. And interesting, so Caleb Staley exiting the game. And I was almost expecting a 5-wide formation. Maybe they'll choose to go with a 10 set instead, keep a running back in there, and they will.
Hayden Wilson, the tailback. 4 receivers at the disposal of Landon Hohler. Hohler fakes the give to Wilson. Has some time. Now he rolls out to his left, throws it down the field. He's got McDonald, and he steps out of bounds along the far sideline near the 37. That's been his go-to guy all season long, and he's able to find him on a huge third down conversion.
A 19-yard pickup, and we mentioned on the holding a couple plays ago, he was rolling with the grain of the play and being able to hit the sideline right there across his body, still having to lead his receiver, McDonald, and just an all-around great conversion on 3rd and 14.
They've had a number of long third down conversions tonight. Landon Hohler will take the snap, hands this one off to Hayden Wilson. Wilson tries the middle, and he's able to get up to about the 40. So it's about a 5-yard pickup. And it looks like we have a Tiger a little bit slow to get up at the end of that play. Although the young man looks like he's going to stay in the game.
I believe that's Ethan Roth fighting to stay out there. A couple of his teammates appeared to try to get him to take it slow, but all he wanted to do was get back in that huddle.
We're tied at 10, third quarter. 1 minute, 20 seconds left in it. Wilson and Hohler in the backfield with a 4-receiver look. They'll take the snap, play action fake. They set up a screen, throws it to Wilson, left side, room to run, down the far sideline, past the 50 he goes, tackled from behind, inside Vermilion territory near the Sailors 40, but that'll move the sticks again.
And the coaching staff read what I was going to point out. So Vermilion, they've been sending at least one linebacker, sometimes both, a lot this drive to try to create a little bit of extra pressure on Hohler right there. Call the screen right into it.
One of the things that Coach DeFucci mentioned during the pregame show is that they really kind of have to change his release point, right? Change that release angle. They got to make him uncomfortable back there, and they've got to make it difficult for him to throw the passes he wants to throw. Hohler facing some pressure, steps away from it, looking down the near side, directing traffic. He's going to run it past the 40, steps out of bounds near the 35-yard line. He was run out of bounds by Ryan Filer Johnson.
Well, the problem the Sailors continue to have is maintaining their rush lanes. And I understand you want to be aggressive, you want to be able to collapse that pocket, but you're almost doing it too quickly, and it's allowing for a lot of surveying of the field and running opportunities for Hohler.
They mark him out at the 36, so it's 2nd down and 4 coming up here for the Tigers. Started this drive back at their own 20-yard line, faced with a 3rd and very long situation. They converted, and they've got momentum. McDonald in motion, far side left. Hohler back to pass, rolling out to the left. Throws it down the field, incomplete. Tough to tell if he was looking for either McDonald or Joe Wood. Both were in the area, and the incompletion brings up 3rd down.
I'll say this, Vermilion got very lucky there. So Mathis passed off his man coverage to Oliver Roy, who was trying to keep up with McDonald, expecting another one of those flat routes. He turned it into a wheel wide open, would have been able to get a touchdown if he had the ball in his hands.
So it's 3rd down and 4. Ball on the right hash. Just over a minute to play in the 3rd quarter in this game, tied at 10 apiece between Huron and Vermilion. Now it's Paul Maloney, the tailback of the formation here. Landon Hohler fakes the give, steps up in the pocket, he's going to run. He spins out of one tackle, and it looks like he picked up the 1st down. They'll mark him down right around the 31-yard line. Aiden Kaiser got to him, but not before he scrambles for a 1st down.
And Hohler just keeps finding different ways to defeat this Vermilion defense. So earlier we saw him rolling out and stepping up in the pocket, but this time steps up to maintain his path there and just shoots right up field, not only past the defensive tackles, but past the linebackers too.
So it's 1st and 10 coming up here. Waiting on the snap, Landon Hohler grabs a high one, pulls it down. His pass is deflected. He was looking for McDonald, but it was knocked down, incomplete. Evan Coons was able to get his left paw on that and keep it away from McDonald.
That's exactly right. Knew he wasn't going to be able to get in there and jumps for it, and we have a late flag being thrown by the official in the middle of the field near the hash mark.
That's where Vermilion's defense is set up. So let's see what this is all about. And it's an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty going against Huron.
And it definitely came in the territory of guys walking back to their respective huddles. Maybe something verbally exchanged there that the official did not like. And now at their own at the 46. Long way to go here.
This will put it all the way back at the 46, as Max just mentioned. So that makes it a 2nd and very long scenario. Not ideal, but they've been faced with situations like this plenty of times tonight.
I was going to say, not the first time, and not even the first time on this drive they faced a spot like this.
Staley in motion, far side left, back to pass. Hohler looking down the field, throws down the field. He had McDonald open, but he couldn't catch it. He was open close to the 32-yard line, but he couldn't hang on to it.
McDonald has shown a great ability tonight, sitting down in the right spot in these zones and being able to extend off of man coverage right there. Sat down between around 3 Sailors, and just a perfect throw. Can't ask for much more from Hohler there. Just got to be able to reel that one in.
Well, that changes the dynamic here, doesn't it? Now you're looking at 3rd down and very long. You'd like to think that here it's probably 4 down territory again. Unless you throw an incomplete passer, then you're probably talking about punting it.
Could be the case, and to even get back to the original line of scrimmage, they'd have to get to the 31.
Hohler has Maloney next to him in the backfield. Pressure coming right away. He gets hit and sacked in the backfield. Pressure coming immediately from that left side, and he went down in a hurry. It was Aiden Kaiser, a 5'9", 160-pound junior, who took him to the grass at the 48 of Huron.
Vermilion throughout this drive had been sending their inside backers, that time bringing pressure off the edge. Kaiser timed it up perfectly as nobody even addressed him or accounted for him on that offensive side of the ball.
Well, buckle your seatbelts because this thing is far from over. We are deadlocked at 10 at the end of 3 between Vermilion and Huron on the Lorain County Sports Network. Fourth down and a country mile coming up for Huron after Aiden Kaiser sacks Landon Hohler inside Huron territory. Boy, what a game this has been, Max. We figured this would be a great one. It has so far lived up to the billing.
An outstanding matchup. Both teams bringing their best here tonight, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Just timely plays happening all over the place, and each side being able to show off some of their veteran leadership as well. Now Vermilion getting a chance to open the fourth with the ball, assuming everything goes to plan on this punt.
Landon Hohler dropping back to punt. He's inside his own 35-yard line. Takes the high snap. He'll get this punt away, angling it toward the near side. This will bounce inside the 10. It takes a high bounce inside the 5. It'll go into the end zone for a touchback.
Well, and Hohler had been averaging around 39 yards a punt. That time, uncorks it for 52. So either way, Sailor's going to have to start deep in their own territory at the 20.
11:50 to go in this one. And Vermilion takes over at their own 20-yard line. That's where they took over the last time they had the ball. They went 12 plays, 80 yards down the field, and a 17-yard touchdown rush by Oliver Roy to tie the game at 10 apiece.
Now I'm excited to see this matchup up front, as we've seen a great battle there. This Huron defensive line, a couple hands on hips out there. They've got to be feeling it a little bit. We'll see if the Sailors can start to lean on them.
So Mathis works from the shotgun. They'll send Roy in motion. Instead, they're going to give this one to Coons. He'll take this one straight up the left side, up to about the 23-yard line. So he picks up just a few.
And now that the fourth quarter is underway, we've clearly seen Vermilion be patient on offense, eat up a lot of clock. They can do that here and then some, and I wouldn't be surprised if they attempt to take up a good half of this quarter.
They've been able to do that. And again, when you control the line of scrimmage, you're essentially able to dictate the pace of this game. That's kind of what they've done to this point. We've got a flag on the near side. Somebody lined up in the neutral zone for Huron. Penalties have become a big part of this game in the second half. Mistakes you don't normally see from the Tigers.
No, not at all. Very disciplined team under Coach Hohler. Been there quite some time now and established the identity of this program, and that's, like you said, a very rare occurrence, a procedural one like that, just a lapse in the judgment there. Now makes it a 2nd and 2, which if you're Vermilion, that's exactly what the doctor ordered here on this crucial drive.
And that's kind of what they're used to, right? The way this night has gone, that's about where they've been operating on 2nd down. It'll be a snap to Mathis. He's got room to run right side. Trying to turn the corner. He does. He's down the near sideline. He's inside Huron territory, and he steps out of bounds near the 43-yard line. His counterpart, Landon Hohler, ran him out of bounds. A huge pickup, and they're inside Tiger territory.
Yeah, how do you like that? Quarterback on quarterback that far down the field. And once again, just weaving through the blocks that time, letting them set up in front of him, and then as soon as he finds that crease to the perimeter, he does not hesitate to hit it.
Vermilion offense on the move here. Just 3 plays into this drive, and they are on the move. They'll send a man in motion. It's Oliver Roy. They'll give this one left side to Coons again. He'll take this one straight up the middle. Check that. That's Mooney who takes it up the middle to about the 36. So they get 7 yards on that.
And I can't imagine trying to be a defender out there going from the change of pace that his Mathis trying to chase him down, catch him from behind. It's right there. You got to square the shoulder pads and bring the hips to try to bring down these running backs. It's a tough task. Right now, Huron's not meeting up to it.
Mooney at 6 foot 200, Coons 5'10", 195. Those are two really difficult guys to try and bring to the turf. It's been a tough night all night long for defenders to try and bring either one of those guys down. They'll hand this one off to Roy right side. Breaks one tackle, and he's finally taken to the turf near the 31, and they will move the sticks again. Oliver Roy's become a big part of this rushing attack in the second half.
Definitely has. That's already his 4th carry now. And he's a guy that he's only had 8 carries on the season coming in, so certainly catching the Tigers off guard at the moment.
You mentioned they can take their time on this drive. Inside of 10 minutes left of this game, 10-10 contest. And they'll come out in I formation here.
I love it, Bull. This is ideal for them.
It's a bit old school for sure. Mathis faked the give, and now he's going to get dropped. Jackson McNulty took him down around the 35, and it looked like that was a busted play.
Definitely appeared that way, as Coons did not expect the handoff. I almost wonder if he expected the fullback would receive that one, and Mooney, Mathis just did what he could to clean that up at the end.
And it just didn't look like the offense was in any way, shape, or form in sync there. And it was a different look, too. They'd only lined up in the eye, I think, 1 or 2 other times in this game.
And it had been successful before that one. We'll see if they choose to go back to it now.
Mathis will grab the snap. They'll give to Mooney. Mooney tries to turn the corner right side, fights his way inside the 30-yard line, still keeps his legs moving, and it takes a host of Tigers to take him out of bounds close to the 28.
He just moves like a bulldozer, doesn't he? Refusing to go down, carries a couple guys through the pile at a time.
With these camouflage jerseys, it's tough to tell the difference between Coons and Mooney. And that's sort of working in the favor of Vermilion, because if we're having a tough time up here, it's got to be tough for the coaches and sometimes the players to tell who's got the ball.
Definitely difficult to diagnose. And either way, it's been working to perfection here for the Sailors.
They have it at the 29 of Huron. It's 3rd down and 8. Mathis will grab the snap. He's going to keep it himself. Ran into his own man at the 32-yard line, and he gets tackled at the 31. Hayden Wilson corralled him, but that came after he ran into his left tackle, Jacob Mayer.
Not the first time we've seen that tonight. And right here it was a little more understandable. There were 2 free Tigers there that left tackle Jacob Mayer was trying to decide who to pick up, and the longer you have to wait, the more time they're going to have to rally to the ball.
4th down and 10. I don't think there's any guesswork here. There's no question they're going for it. 4-down territory. So it'll be 4th down and 10 for the Sailors. We've got whistles and a timeout called by Vermilion. Timeouts brought to you by Lorain County Recorder Mike Duran, securing and organizing real estate documents. That's Lorain County Recorder Mike Duran. Let's keep this one here because there's a big 4th down play coming up. And at 4th and 11, this offense isn't necessarily designed to pick up 11 yards in a typical 4th down scenario. They haven't put the ball in the air a whole lot, but the way they've run the ball tonight, they don't necessarily have to.
No, and it could come in a couple different ways. We saw them get creative near the end of the first half. Obviously, the play didn't go according to script, but Aaron Mathis, he can always be a weapon here, and that's something that this Tigers defense hasn't had a lot of success in stopping, especially when the play gets off schedule. He always just finds a way around and to get open. So got to imagine he's going to be a key part involved in this play as they set up at their own, at the Huron 31.
4th and 10, as Max just mentioned, at the Huron 31-yard line. Cone Mooney, the tailback, lined up off the left side of Mathis, who takes the snap. Rolling out, near side left, looking down the field, fires down the field, incomplete. And for a moment, looked like maybe he was looking for DeFucci down there, but again, there just wasn't much happening on the far side of the field, and they will turn the ball over on downs.
Just his 5th pass of the night, and that one into really tight coverage. Almost wondered if Evan Coons was going to get it underneath. Maybe tried to trust him to pick up the first down. He would have had to go another 4 yards to get there. But either way, it would have been tough to pull off. Now it turns to Huron's offense, who has not had much success here in the second half. Obviously, their only points came off of a field goal that they were gifted the red zone for, so they're going to have to go out and earn it here.
What a battle this has been. Tied at 10 with 7:17 to play here in the 4th quarter. Landon Hohler grabs the snap and he rolls out far side of the right, throws it down the field. He's got McDonald. McDonald makes the catch, and then he goes down immediately at about the 39.
In a tough spot for Vermilion defense that time, as it appeared. I believe that's Ryan Filer-Johnson in coverage there. Tried to split the difference of 2 guys and just not fast enough to keep up with McDonald.
Staley and Perriott lined up near side left, and they will have McDonald lined up far side to the right. They got McNulty lined up as a wing here, and the give will go to Wilson. Wilson plows straight up the middle. He's got first down yardage, it looks like, getting close to the 42. That might be close, but this crew's been pretty generous at just telling that chain gang to march forward 10 yards, and that'll be a first down.
I was going to say, it almost looked like he was stood up at the 40, but got enough forward progress before that, I suppose. And like you said, moves the chains, and now we're getting close to halfway to go in the final quarter here.
Wilson remains in the game as the tailback. This time they will bring McNulty off the line. He's lined up as a receiver on the near side. They'll send him in motion to the right. They'll hand it off to Wilson again. This time he's got room to run. Inside the 45-yard line, he's tripped up along the hash going down at the 47, so they pick up about 4.
Just following McNulty that time, and we've seen them use him like that a couple of times as a lead blocker out from his receiver position into the middle of the line of scrimmage. So right there, the senior, a very willing blocker.
We mentioned the balance in this offense, averaging 128 yards through the year. And on the ground, they have done a pretty nice job, averaging 147 yards per game with that rushing attack. Landon Hohler will keep this one himself. Tries the middle with room to run. He's able to drag defenders with him inside Vermilion territory. Still on his feet inside the 45. And he finally goes down inside the 40 at the 39. What a tough run by Landon Hohler.
Well, the junior quarterback's going to have a few bruises from that play, but he does not care about that. That was a beautiful run. A lot of hard-nosed moving there.
And we had a flag at the very end of the play. That came in very, very late. By Landon Hohler. You know, football is just in the blood. Not just because his father's the coach, but his brother also plays at Toledo. Unsportsmanlike conduct is the penalty against Huron.
Well, Hohler, clearly a fiery competitor. The play he made between the whistles shows that. Not sure who that's called on, but that's now another time we've seen the Tigers be called for this after the whistle stuff, and they just got to cut that out here.
And the play ended at the 39 after an incredible run by Landon Hohler, but now they have to assess the penalty yardage here. Now, conventional wisdom would tell you that that's going to put the ball back inside of Huron territory. If my math is correct, that'll put it back right around the 46 of Vermilion.
So now, obviously time's still not an issue, but the play calling where they may have been able to continue running it, now they might have to opt for the air a few more times than they may have wanted to.
Crowd on the near side starting to make some noise, trying to win a game they haven't won in nearly 60 years.
And obviously the players know that well, but a lot of these fans have lived through that time, and it's very personal to them.
5.5 minutes left in regulation. We're tied at 10 between Huron and Vermilion. It is first down from the 46 of Huron. McNulty in motion. And they're going to give this one to Wilson. Wilson, room to run. Drags defenders with him past the 45 out to the Vermilion 42-yard line.
And he gets all of it back, including now a first down.
So as it turns out, the penalty didn't matter much. Sometimes that can kill your momentum. It didn't seem to do much to it there.
No, not at all. And Wilson, hasn't received a ton of carries tonight, just 5, but he's made the most of those.
Just over 200 yards rushing on the season, averaging 6.5 per pop. They'll send a man in motion. They'll give it to Wilson again. This time he gets hammered in the backfield. Bo Bedish said no, sir. Sticks him for a no-gainer. And that's an early candidate for our collision of the game, brought to you by Ernie's Auto Body, the top auto body shop in Avon.
I mean, you're right. It has to be, as he stepped up in a big way. And we've seen that. It hasn't been consistently every play where a guy up there has been able to shut it down or make a huge play in the backfield, but they've made him at crucial times. And Benesh steps up there as he has a couple other times tonight.
They'll mark that down for a loss of 1, setting up 2nd down and 11. They'll send Staley in motion to the right. Hohler takes the snap and rolls out to the right. Surveying down the field, throws, diving attempt along the far sideline. Was it caught along there or no? And it looks like he did not catch it. He came down with it out of bounds.
Right there, targeting Staley, as we've seen them go his way one other time, but just not enough room to work with. And Benish applying the pressure near the end of that play for Hohler once again.
And now they're looking at 3rd down and 11. We've mentioned it a lot, but this doesn't seem like an uncomfortable scenario for this Tiger offense.
Not at all. And Vermilion last drive was able to send some pressure to help shut that down. We'll see if they go back to it.
2 guys went in motion at once, no flag. Now we've got a whistle, and we have a timeout called by head coach Sam Hohler. I think he saw there was a lot of confusion. Anytime you see 2 guys go in motion at once, you know something's at least a little bit off kilter. We'll take a quick timeout here on the Lorain County Sports Network. All tied at 10 here in the 4th quarter. Huron with the ball at the Vermilion 43, but 3rd down and 11 coming up. 4:09 to go in this 4th quarter. What a ball game here at Sailor Nation. Landon Hohler, junior quarterback, has been able to sling the ball all over the field tonight. They've been able to pick up a little bit of momentum, though, Max, with their rushing game of late.
It's really given them a boost and brought back a little bit of that balance we talked about in the pregame, where in the first half they really didn't need it so much, but they also weren't able to pick up any easy yards and had to go away from it. Now certainly have to go away from the ground game here.
Paul Maloney, the tailback. They'll send him in motion. Near side left. Pressure coming from Vermilion. Hohler gets away from it. Now he's being corralled, and he goes down at the 41-yard line. He kind of stumbled to the turf, and that Vermilion defense comes through again. Sean Brownell was in on that stop, and it's no gain.
It almost looked like he was going to be able to escape again. We've seen a couple times Hohler pull the Houdini act, and right there you mentioned it, Brownell able to shut it down, get this punt team. Or is that going to be will that be the kicker?
No way, they're trying to kick.
I can't believe this.
I mean, the way they're lined up, though, it looks like they're attempting a 59-yard field goal. Cameron Manor attempted one from 50 earlier. This is a 59-yarder. That's blocked. It's deflected at the line of scrimmage. Vermilion will pick it up. It's corralled at about the 35-yard line. I have never seen a high school football field goal attempted from 59 yards away.
Certainly never in person for me, and I can't believe they chose to do that, because obviously if you miss it, you give a little momentum. Field position works in the favor of Vermilion, whereas if you punt, you make this running attack have to go the length of the field in under 4 minutes. We'll see if it comes back to bite them. I understand having faith in Manor, but man, that's something that a lot of these fans are going to look back on tonight. Could be the pivotal deciding point of this game.
So now they've got it at their own 35-yard line, the Sailors do. Aaron Mathis will come up under center. He'll take the snap. They'll hand it left side to Mooney. Mooney cuts inside. He's past the 40-yard line, past the 45, dragging bodies with him to the 48-yard line of Huron for a first down.
They waste no time getting that momentum that was in the balance and seizing it past midfield already. Just over 3 minutes to go. Vermilion in a great spot here. Just got to finish.
Here we thought to go for a ride, you had to go about a half hour west of here to Cedar Point, but Cone Mooney took about 3 or 4 Tigers for a nice ride past the 50-yard line a few moments ago.
You're right about that, and this one was free to watch.
Mathis hands it off again. This will go straight up the middle to about the 45-yard line, maybe the 46. The official on the far side spotted that down after a gain of just a couple for Coons.
And if you're Huron at this point, not a lot of things have been able to break your way in the second half. You've had to bend but don't break, get a few fourth down stops. And now at this point, if they get deep enough into your own territory, you may have to deal with a field goal. So certainly imagine this defense going to be a little more aggressive here, maybe look for a few more punching the ball out opportunities.
It'll be a keeper. Mathis, room to run up the middle, drags 2 defenders up to the 40-yard line. And now we've got some bodies coming off the pile with a little extra veracity there. But no flags thrown. Probably a good job of the officials to kind of swallow that.
And it looked like they may have been fighting for the ball there, maybe trying to get possession back, but Mathis certainly down. And 3rd and 2, we've seen this story a lot, and we've seen Vermilion have a lot of success here behind this experienced offensive line.
So it'll be Coons lined up right behind Mathis. Mathis grabs the shotgun snap. They'll give it to Coons. Breaks one tackle. He's inside the 35. Breaks another. He goes down the numbers left side. Drags defenders inside the 20 to the 18 for a first down. Evan Coons has the hot hand on this drive, and he takes Vermilion inside the red zone.
And with that run, he's going to get over 100 yards on the ground, and you nailed it. He's been the workhorse here in this second half, and got to imagine he's going to keep asking for the ball.
Huron has 2 timeouts left. Clock continuing to tick. 1:10 to play here in the fourth quarter. Mathis wants that shotgun snap. He gets it. They give it to Coons. Coons room to run. Up the middle. Taking defenders with him inside the 10 to the 9. And based on the spot, that should be enough for a 1st and goal scenario. Evan Coons running right at the teeth of this Huron defense.
Adds another 11 to his total, and you're right. The high and tight nature and just high knees almost. He's very tough to bring down already with his size, and his angry running just makes it almost impossible, especially for a worn-down Tigers defense.
Coons the tailback again. Mathis will grab the snap. They'll give it to Coons one more time. Running it left side. He's stood up and he's dropped at about the 8-yard line, so he picks up just 1, setting up 2nd down and goal. And the clock will stop with 26.9 seconds to play in this one. Vermilion calls for the timeout. It's way too close to the finish line to take a timeout for us here, so we'll keep it right here.
Yes, we have to stay locked into this moment as both teams will try to recoup, especially Huron, as now they're in a tough spot here. They're in field goal range, Vermilion is. You just got to keep holding on as long as you can. And as for the Sailors, I don't imagine we'll see them go to the air. They're 0 for 5 tonight, even with the time constraints working against them. But we talked about it, 3-headed monster, and that could play a factor here in who gets the ball and using some misdirection.
The hot hand so far has been Evan Coons, but look, Mathis has shown the ability to turn the corner and pick up some big yards. Cone Mooney as well. They've given the ball to Oliver Roy a few times. He's got their lone touchdown tonight. It just becomes difficult as a defender to try and figure out who you have to key on and try and slow down.
You brought up a great point with Roy, as his touchdown was able to spring off of a motion that there's not a DB really attached to him because they don't expect them to use him.
Mooney the tailback. Mathis takes the snap. He redirects to the middle, runs into some trouble, and he is going to be stopped close to the line of scrimmage, getting right back to the 8. And now, with 17.4 seconds to play, another timeout has been called by Vermilion. Huron does have a couple left to work with, but now it'll be 3rd down and goal. Where the ball is, right around the 8-yard line, that would make this roughly a 25-yard field goal attempt.
And that could be what they were trying to set up there with a run like that. in theory, have 2 plays to work with, but no timeouts left, no spike to work with, being 3rd down. We're almost in a very identical situation to how the first half ended, Bull.
It's a great point. And Zeke Dunn hoping for an opportunity to be the hero of the night. Now look, Huron does have a couple of timeouts to work with. They've got a really good return game, so you'd like to think they might be the ones hoping for a few extra seconds to work with, but there's a lot that can happen in the next 17 seconds.
Yeah, we know all too well what a close game can look like here on the Lorain County Sports Network.
Cone Mooney will be the tailback here, lined up with Aaron Mathis. Mathis will drop back, looking down the field. He's in some trouble. Throws this one in the air to the back of the end zone. Nobody home. Threw it where nobody could get to it. He was looking for Brock Myers. And we have just under 13 seconds left to play in this one. Here comes Zeke Dunn.
And a wise play there by Mathis. That's just displaying the trust that these coaches have in him in a situation like that. And wonder if we'll see, with around 12 seconds left, if we'll see an icing timeout or if they'll try to save that for themselves, the Huron Tigers.
Zeke Dunn was set up for a 25-yard field goal, and just as my tag team partner mentioned, icing on the far sideline from Coach Sam Hohler. He wants to give Zeke Dunn an extra second or two to think about this. Well, Zeke Dunn, a senior kicker, 5'11", $190. He's been around the last few years, Max, knowing just how punishing those losses have been against Huron. You talked about the final score last year. They know just how much this one means.
And you want to talk about a measuring stick performance tonight, going from that last year to a 10-10 slugfest, coming down to the final seconds. Just great progression under the program here of Bill DeFucci. And that is the longest 20-yard trot of those young men's lives so far.
A 25-yard field goal attempt from Zeke Dunn. He's 1 for 2 so far in field goals tonight. Snap back, hold is down. It's on the way, and it is good! Zeke Dunn nails a 25-yard field goal with 8.9 seconds to play in this one. It's not a final just yet, but Zeke Dunn may have made that long losing streak against the Huron Tigers just that done. But there's still 8.9 seconds left in this one. The Sailors lead it 13-10 over the Huron Tigers.
What an ending we have coming down the barrel now. And Zeke Dunn, cool under pressure here in October. Just a great game, and we're still treated to 8 seconds to go. Walk-offs are nice, but this adds a little more tension to the environment here.
So here you have to ask the question, why not try and kick this thing out of bounds? Don't even give Caleb Staley or Tommy McDonald an opportunity to flip the field here. Kick it out, give them the ball at the 35-yard line, and take your chances from there.
Right, and with just one timeout left, it's going to be tough for them. So even if McDonald does have a chance for it, he may even, depending on where he gets it, fair catch or go down quickly so they can still use that timeout here in this final 8 seconds.
Again, Vermilion has not beaten Huron since the Eisenhower administration. I mean, look, you're going back nearly 60 years.
It's just about a history lesson right there.
But again, there's still a little bit of time left. Zeke Dunn will kick it away from the 40. He'll run forward and get his right foot into it. This is going to bounce and go out of bounds on the far sideline inside the 10-yard line. If you're Vermilion, that's perfectly fine. Don't give McDonald or Staley a chance to return that.
Well, it almost looked like he may have been trying to get that to the end zone, just trailed out a couple yards. And look at that. Can't see it on your screen right now, but it's sitting right at the 8. So as soon as it was done rolling, it just died right there. But now we'll get to see what Hohler's arm has in store. We've seen plenty from it tonight, but not in a situation like this.
Listen to this crowd. About as loud now as they were when that field goal went through the uprights from Zeke Dunn. Keep in mind, Zeke Dunn hadn't attempted any field goals going into tonight's game. Landon Hohler out of this shotgun, drops back. He's going to step up in the pocket, throws across the middle, incomplete. He was looking for Caleb Staley, but Evan Coons was on the coverage. That had no chance. And now they are looking at 4 seconds left. More than likely, this will be the last play of the game.
The ball game right here is this Vermilion sideline trying to get this crowd into it. Not that they need any encouragement. And at a moment like this, Jackson McNulty, he's got to be a priority. 6'5" receiver. He's got 9 catches and 3 touchdowns on the season, so I got to imagine he'll be involved.
This is where trickery comes into play here. Timeout called by Huron. They want to figure this out. This is where you see the hook and ladder, things like that. The crazy things come into play in this scenario here, Max.
Yeah, and it's really becomes a no man's land once that begins, and you're just trying to do whatever you can to keep it in front of you if you're the Sailors. And we haven't really seen Hohler try to uncork the arm strength tonight, so you're right. It could come down to some deception here. Either way, Vermilion definitely going to have extra bodies back deep, well past midfield.
Boy, and what a win this would be for this program if they can hang on for the next 4 seconds. You know, forget about the losing streak, but if they hang on to win this one, they go to 7-1 on the year with 2 games left. And you'd like to think that the chances of hosting a playoff game would take a major bump if they can hang on here.
And they would increase astronomically, and you stay in the race for the Bay Division in the SBC.
But Huron has one last chance. They'll send Maloney in motion, near side left. Hohler gets hit. He won't get a chance to get rid of it. He goes down at the 32-yard line. And this game is over. Say sayonara to that long losing streak against Huron. The Vermilion Sailors come away with the win. A losing streak that stretched over 60 years. And Huron doesn't know if this game is over or not. They're talking to the officials. There appears to be some confusion. They whistled that play dead.
Well, and Ben Davis, he was able to catch it out of the camera. I don't know if they had ruled the play dead or not. But an offensive lineman had it was taking off around the right side, still up. So I don't even know how you could recreate a play like that, though, with no timeouts either.
So the ball is still at the 35. I don't know if they whistled that play dead before they threw that snapback or not, but now it seems a little interesting because they're going to let Huron run one more play.
And very interesting, an untimed down. I can't believe this. We'll see how the outcome ends up.
They'll send Maloney in motion again. Hohler throws it back to Maloney. Maloney on the run, coming near side to the left. He gets stopped, throws it behind him to McNulty. McNulty is going to get tackled and lose the ball at the 30-yard line. Vermilion jumps on the loose ball, and now it's official. For the first time in nearly 60 years, Vermilion takes down Huron 13-10. They had to wait an extra second for the celebration, but the Sailors seize the day here at home with a 13-10 win over the Tigers. Oh, what a finish, Max.
This is what football is all about, moments like this, and this team, this Vermilion squad deserves the moment in the spotlight here to celebrate. What an outstanding game and fight from them. And obviously, Huron in it till the last second as well. Just, we could have asked for a better game here in week 8, Bull.
Well, after the last 2 weeks with some lopsided decisions, we figured that we might be in store for a classic here tonight. This was just outstanding. And for Huron, look, I mean, it's a tough loss for sure, but they came into this game ranked 10th in the state in Division 6. And a loss against a team like this that's up 2 divisions from you, that's not going to do a whole lot to damage your playoff chances. But you also have to consider at this point, they've got games against both Clyde and Edison these next 2 weeks. So things aren't going to get a whole lot easier for them down the stretch.
No, they're not. They have a lot to build on, including raising that win or. This is the first time in the lifetime of many here in attendance. We have it on the camera there.
What a celebration, and what a moment for this community. Let's step aside and take a timeout. When we come back, we'll get into the I-90 East Side and Sheffield Village post-game show with the scoring recap, some final stats, and much, much more. Vermilion, a 13-10 winner over Huron here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Boy, what a game here in Vermilion tonight. The Sailors, a 13-10 winner over the Huron Tigers. They beat Huron for the first time since 1966. A streak that I'm sure a lot of people were talking about a ton going into this game, and they'll be talking about this game for a long time after it. They win the battle for the oar, and they are celebrating in the south end zone. This is an incredible sight to see here at Vermilion. What a turnaround for this Sailor team. You know, talk about the final score from last year. Huron won it 56-0. The first year Coach Bill DeFucci took over, they were 0-10. This has been a monster turnaround. And Coach DeFucci actually alluded to that a little bit during the pregame show, talking about how the kids really bought in, knowing that it was going to take a special level of commitment in order to try and turn this thing around. Coach Sam Hohler of the Huron Tigers talked about that as well, saying, look, these kids certainly took some serious lumps, and they paid their dues to continue to buy in and week out and really change the culture. They've done that not only this season, but you really kind of felt like it came to a head here tonight, beating a team that they had not beaten in many decades. And this is one of those environments, Max, where you just can't help but sit back and take it all in and enjoy it.
Yeah, you put it perfectly. And I mean, they didn't take any shortcuts in that path back to moments like this either. They went through the hard stuff in the offseason especially. They pushed each other a lot, and that was something Coach DeFucci really proud of. And I know he can't wait to celebrate this with his team.
Well, this was a defensive struggle, and we thought that might be the case throughout the night. The final score tells you that at 13-10. We saw some wacky things in this game, too. We saw an all-state kicker in Huron's Cameron Manor kick a couple of field goals from 50-plus yards away. Both were no good. One of them was blocked, and that came towards the end of the game. That was a 59-yard field goal attempt, and it was partially deflected, and then Vermilion took over. At their own 35-yard line, they would march down the field for the eventual game-winning drive, a 25-yard field goal from Zeke Dunn to put this away at 13-10. Going into the half, there weren't many points scored in this game. It was a 10-3 lead, and a 17-yard touchdown rush from Oliver Roy tied things up at 10 apiece. Both teams would go back and forth putting decent drives together, but again, nothing really materialized until Dunn hit that game-winning field goal with just inside of 10 seconds to play. And when you take a look at this defense and all that they were able to do here tonight, Landon Hohler was able to do his thing. He picked up some yards with his legs. He did some damage with his arm. But when it mattered the most, the Vermilion defense was able to keep he and the Tigers at bay.
Yeah, and we saw it from a lot of different guys, too. It's not like they just have one standout that is a matchup nightmare. They have several guys who are just they're gritty. They're not the biggest. They're not the absolute strongest. They're definitely not the fastest. But they come together as a group. And whether it's names like Colin Agney, Aiden Kaiser, Sean Brownell, I could keep going. There just so many different guys stepped up when they needed it tonight.
Well, let's take a look at some of our awards for tonight's game. The big play of the game, well, I don't think this is really a hard one to figure out. Our big brothers, big sisters of Lorain County. Big play of the game, be a big, get a big. That's big brothers, big sisters of Lorain County. Tough to look past that 25-yard game-winning field goal from Zeke Dunn. Again, shocking that he came into this game with no field goal attempts whatsoever, but he nailed two big ones here tonight.
The most important of the season, and now as we get later into our calendar year here for high school football, you can probably rely on him a little bit more than maybe you expected coming into this week.
The player of the game, there were so many candidates. And we threw around the idea of Evan Coons because he went over the century mark and he did a lot of special things, but we keep going back to the kicker. And it's hard to ignore it, but Zeke Dunn was able to nail the only extra point that he attempted. He also hit two enormous field goals, including that 25-yarder to seal the deal here tonight. So he is our player of the game, brought to you by Zabo Apparel Company. Be game day ready all year long with Zabo Apparel Company. Two candidates here for the Valley Chevrolet drive of the game. It'll always come down to that last one they put together that began at their own 35-yard line. But how about their first drive of the game? where they got their first points of the contest and took a 3-0 lead. That was a 17-play drive that brought them just inside the 10-yard line, and they took a 3-0 lead, albeit briefly, but that was a really nice, long, sustained drive, and that set the tone for the night.
You took the words right out of my mouth there, Bull. I mean, they made it clear what they were going to do, and they didn't really deviate from it. Even in situations where it felt like they had to, where we thought they were going to have to get out of their comfort zone, they just relied on what's worked all season long, and Huron didn't have an answer for it most of the time.
Postgame show brought to you by I-90 Nissan in Sheffield Village, because the deals are so good. Let's look at some of these final numbers brought to you by Al Januzzi, CPA.
And we'll start with the victorious Vermilion Sailors and that ground attack. A couple guys over the century mark. Obviously, we mentioned Evan Coons, 16 carries, 129 yards, averaging 8 a pop. And then the quarterback there, Mathis, had 17 carries for 105 yards. And the one ending up in the end zone, the only touchdown of the night for Vermilion, Oliver Roy, as he had 4 carries, 21 yards, and a touchdown. And then looking over at Huron, we talked obviously a little bit about Landon Hohler, as he was 12 of 20, 126 yards, did have the 1 touchdown. But as the game went on, he was pressured quite a bit, and that took a chunk out of Huron's total rushing yards, as they had 21 attempts, 70 yards, so just 3.3 yards a carry. And that eventually ended up possibly being the difference. They weren't able to get a good start on some of those drives, and it really set them back throughout the game.
Yeah, and this is an offense that had a lot of balance throughout the year, but for whatever reason tonight, as you mentioned, they just couldn't get a whole lot going in that running game. But look, while they had their struggles, there was a reason for that. And you take a look at the guys up front. Many of those guys members of that 1,000-pound club, right? Which we talked a lot about throughout the course of the broadcast. Guys that may not be looked at as the biggest bodies in the team, but guys who are strong and athletic and just made it tough for the Tigers to run all night long.
Great leaders, and I think they take pride in the fact that they may be overlooked, they may be undersized, and use that underdog mentality, and it worked out tonight. It's worked out for pretty much the entire season, and it's going to have to continue to do so heading into their matchup next week against Edison.
Tigers fall to 6-2 on the season. The Sailors continue to cruise at 7. I should say, yeah, it's at 7-2, or 7-1 rather. So next week they take on Edison, and then they've got Bellevue to finish up the season. So it'll be a really tough test against Edison next week. But again, 7-1, they came into this game, Division IV, Region 14, as the 6th seed. A win here, you'd like to think, goes a really long ways in getting them a shot at playing a playoff game here at home, but the next 2 weeks will ultimately tell that tale. 13-10, your final score in this one. Vermilion, a winner over Huron. Max, any final thoughts from you before we wrap this up?
And we thought we had a couple good games this year on here. This is definitely a contender for game of the season on the Lorain County Sports Network, and let's hope we can continue to try to top it, but it's going to be tough to overcome this one.
No question about that. Well, don't forget, Lorain County's 4 Horsemen will be over in Avon next week for an SWC clash. The Eagles will play host to the Amherst Comets, who at last check were having their way with the Elyria Pioneers, and Avon also having their way with the Midview Middies. But again, we'll leave the final scores and stories up to Dave Grenchinsky, Paul Williams, and Maria Janasco on the post-game show brought to you by I-90 and Nissan in Sheffield Village. They'll have all the details for you on WOBL and WDLW as well. That's all we've got for you tonight. Again, your final, Vermilion 13 and Huron 10. Plenty of people to thank before we sign off here tonight. First and foremost, a big thanks to all of you for tuning in to the broadcast. However you consume this one, wherever you were consuming it, we would like to say thanks to all of you for making us a part of your Friday night. Huge thanks to Andy Stillman and company up here in the press box for their help and hospitality and preparation for tonight's broadcast. And a huge thanks goes out to my entire broadcast team. Sam Sovacool working the camera tonight, exterminator extraordinaire and producer as well. My man, the beekeeper, Edwin Vereen, for getting us on and keeping us on, and Max Drummond for providing the colorful analysis all throughout the night. For Edwin, Max, and Sam, this is Andy Bullbarch saying thanks again for tuning in to tonight's broadcast on the Lorain County Sports Network. Please enjoy your weekend.